right. God knows what you heard there. Should have just been the music and we're live, but another day on the middle.
That's why they log on, man. That's why they want to see us. We give the people what they want. Yeah, we keep it real.
Which is what? Real. Which is a random half sentence as we start the show.
Well,
neither one of you guys can shut up before the music starts.
Nobody heard me say anything. Barrett's the one who's always talking when the show comes back or when the show wants to go to break.
Right.
Yeah.
I have something to say, and you guys want to cut me off.
No, I
got to give the people what they want.
Job. You're not going to sit there and start talking when the producers in your ear break. Like, you're not going to keep talking and that. We've got music that plays for both of you.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Stepping over that line. My goodness. You're like Russell Westbrook stepping out of bounds.
Well, let's go to the tape.
Yeah, seriously.
Let's review this.
Boy, I tell you, I don't know what is more exciting right now for me. Breaking down all of the possible angles of a game tonight, in which it's going to be, and I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a blowout.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Well,
it better be. Let's just say it had better be.
It will be.
Blowout.
I'm telling you, man. It will be. This look at game twos so far. The only anomaly that we've seen with game twos, and I mean like with top seeds, is what's happening in LA. And I don't mean Lakers. Yes.
With the Clippers, yeah.
Yes, that's something right there.
What's up with the Clippers, man?
Well, you can't keep
did the same thing last year. What we expected something different.
Luka Doncic is just doing whatever he wants. And you start to look at a guy like that. That's what's lacking. Like, think about this. How do you get 41 from Kawhi Leonard? How do you get a decent stat line, at least from Paul George? Yet neither one of those guys really dominated the game like Luka did with the ball. And there's something to it, man. Like, Doncic is definitely like Embiid and like, maybe Durant or Harden when he's cooking. Like, there are a couple of guys you can look at, not Porzingis, Jokic. Like, you can look at Dame, right? You can look at Steph. You can look at a couple of the guys.
Embiid, you keep leaving out Embiid, dog.
Embiid was the first guy I mentioned.
Oh, okay.
Are you here?
No.
He's checking his emails.
Seriously.
Leave him alone.
First guy I mentioned after this whole thing with Luka Doncic. But there, like 5-6 guys in the NBA who they can control the game all over. And it's not even like Luka is not even the best defender or anything like that, but it's just he's controlling the game. And the Clippers, man, they're uncomfortable playing fast. Dallas, they'll go in a track meet. But the Clippers are one of the slowest paced teams in the NBA. And yeah, you're going to see points. But look, Reggie Jackson was the only other guy in double figures, man. You can't win games that way.
You're right. You're right. But what I want to see the Sixers do tonight is what the Brooklyn Nets have done to the Boston Celtics in the first 2 games. And that's just blitzed them in the first quarter. Brooklyn had 46 the other night and 40 last night. And they've got 14, 18-point leads after quarter number 1. And the game is over. Well, they just step on the throat and they don't let up. That's what the Sixers need to do tonight.
That's
exactly what I said, too. We said that yesterday. We knew they were going to do that. And they made it, like I said, they made it known from the beginning. This is our series. This is our game. We let you guys hang around too much last week. We're going to erase all doubt on who the better team is. I mean, and it's so hard to stop them from so many different vantage points. When you look at, you look at who really controlled the game, you really couldn't tell. You really couldn't tell who the better of the 3 was. Because all of them played within their role. All of them played ball, you talking about a team that has that cohesiveness. They had it, man. Even though they haven't played together, they had that cohesiveness yesterday.
Well,
they had it.
Joe, nothing really was going on in the first quarter or so. Like, Joe Harris was the reason why they had that gigantic lead. The guy had 16 points in the first quarter.
Well, same thing happened the other night.
Right. The point of it, though, is that nothing else worked after Joe Harris or not even specifically Joe Harris, but nothing else worked following that, and they still won. Like, they didn't blow Boston out in game one by any means.
That's what I'm saying. But the next game, they wanted to make sure that they knew who the boss was in this series. I mean,
yeah, but
look at Kyrie, man.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say, like, if you look at how that game progressed, right? Oh, what am I talking about? If you're looking at how that game progressed, a lot of this was just what was opened up from Joe Harris. So what works, I guess, to Brooklyn's favor even more so is that this wasn't like the big three came out right away and just destroyed Boston and then they went to the bench. It was like a fourth or arguably fifth guy came out there and dominated. That's what I think was crazy about how that played out.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was trying to say. I mean, nobody really came out and just dominated.
In partnership,
Joe Harris did. No?
Let me finish after we get through with this.
You, my friend, are caught in the middle.
The Middle starts
And I'll answer.
now on the SportsMap Radio Network.
presented by Rocket Mortgage. Home loans that fit your life. Rocket can.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Eytan Shander, Barrett Brooks, and Harry Mays.
All right, welcome in. We've got a busy Wednesday here, 2 hours, as we're joined by, as you hear, SportsMap Radio across the JAKIB Media YouTube page. As people are filing in, we remind you to like, to share, subscribe. You want to hit the notification bell. I see earlier in the stream, we had a nice shout by the Penguin AZ to smash the like button. And that's what it is. I mean, look, we don't ask much from the community by any means. That's the one small thing we do is when you come in here and you see a new name or you see somebody brand new to the JAKIB Media YouTube page right through the middle, you want to just remind them. That's it. Just, hey, make sure you like, make sure you share. And really that bell so you don't miss shows. We see people straggling in late, and we want to avoid that. We want people here right from the jump. In fact, if you can get here early, then you might be privy to some off-air conversation that is not for public consumption by any means. But as long as that link is live, you can pop in here and do it. All right, we've got Chase Hughes joining us today at 11:40, and he covers the Wizards for NBC Sports Washington. We also have our chat with Jeff Parles coming up at 12:40.
12:40.
That's right. Booking Sports.
And I was confused in the first couple of minutes. I conflated two of the series. I meant what the
Milwaukee
Bucks did to the Heat in game one, where they got jumped out to a huge lead, put up 46, and then Brooklyn did it last night.
Yeah.
Jumping out to a 40-26 lead in that first quarter. I conflated the two series.
What I was trying to say was, I mean, you look at the Nets, you're thinking the big three are going to be the ones that are going to, totally dominate the game. And that wasn't the case. The way the ball movement was, I mean, you can tell the Celtics wanted to go out and stop at least two of the three guys that, that you look at as far as scoring. Mm-hmm. But what happens? They started distributing the ball and getting the ball to people, and those guys, what you call them, second tier guys. You got the first tier guys, the big three, and the second tier guys were making shots happen. You leave them open, they're hitting shots. So it wasn't controlled by the 3-3 directly; it was indirectly done by them just being there and their presence being there.
Okay, we got to get you guys a clock.
What did I do? I did nothing.
We just keep going late, and it's just we cut off on the audio. That's all. I was trying to get you in there, but I should have let you know that we only had 10 seconds. But I know you wanted to get that point in, so that's all. All good.
I'm on it today, man. I'm on it today.
No,
I enjoyed it.
What's that?
I enjoyed watching ball yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say that's what they've been doing all year. Like what Joe Harris did is not what Joe Harris has been doing all year, but it's what the Nets have been doing all year because they haven't had those big three together. So it's just a matter of somebody is going to be completely open, even with two guys on there or one guy on there. And Joe Harris, like, that's what I think the crazy thing about it is that Joe Harris is one of these weird dudes who doesn't get any better when you start taking guys off the floor. So that's where I would be really concerned about now going up against Brooklyn is if you have, like Barrett said, all three guys on the floor like that, moving the ball around to where there's a dude like Joe Harris who normally just you don't see a usage rate go up when these guys are off the floor. Like Jeff Green, for example, was picking up a lot of the slack earlier this year. And when they brought in Blake Griffin, he looked like a revived individual. To have a dude like Joe Harris knock down those many shots and that many threes in the first quarter, you're never going to beat Brooklyn, ever.
No,
ever. I mean, it's Marion Barber with a 3-touchdown lead.
Yeah.
Right?
How about the game Tatum had last night? He only played in, what, 21 minutes?
Yeah, they were out.
Sometimes I think Hoopers are just soft, man. Come on, man. He got poked in the eye.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he only took how many shots while he was in there, too. I mean, just like the production while he was on the floor was nothing.
No, he wasn't having a good game. And neither was he defensively, but a lot of that is because he'll just by default get matched up against Durant a lot in that smaller lineup.
He got poked in the eye.
Not a good basketball team, man. Like Boston, I don't know, I don't know what people want.
I watched a little bit of the first half of that, and then I went to the hockey, and then I came back for the Lakers for the first half. That was brutal because it was all fouls.
I know, man.
Like they were blowing the whistle, it seemed like every 12, 13 seconds.
Yeah, I didn't touch that game until Barrett actually was the one who sent the text because I forgot to turn over to it. But I was waiting to see just how healthy Chris Paul was.
Yeah.
Because if Chris Paul wasn't going to play, then you knew it. You had
to tried to gut it out.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
He limited.
You could tell from the beginning, when he was taking off his warm-up.
Yeah. He's got all that tape on his shoulder.
It was your text. I forgot.
This is The Middle on the Sports Map Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Eytan Shander, Barrett Brooks, and Harry Mays.
All right, one thing with the Lakers and Suns game last night, and we'll start looking at the Sixers tonight, of course. Barrett sends the text out, and I got to give Barrett a shout here because I won a bet because of his text.
No.
Yeah. As soon as I saw Barrett Brooks texting the group, which is the three of us, that Chris Paul couldn't even lift his arm above his shoulder to get his shirt off, I immediately went to my sports book app of choice. And when I say pound, I mean pound, CCH pounder on that sucker. Yeah.
CCH pounder. That's a Shield reference.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely. That's where I went. Barrett's telling me this guy can't lift his arm up over his head. Yep. That's where I went. Bottoms up on the pounder.
She was very good in the Shield.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
Yeah.
What else is she in? She's in some other things.
She's in some other crime, like police stuff.
Who is this we're talking about?
CCH pounder.
It stands for Carol Christine Hilaria, her birth name.
Mm-hmm.
She was born on Christmas Day in 1952.
She's in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, she's in a ton.
I want to talk like Law and Order. She might have been in some of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know who we're talking about now.
Yeah. Like she's in the Matrix also.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she is in the Matrix.
She's
right?
good in the Shield.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Fantastic in the Shield because she and Dutch, the other cop, are like
great combo,
real straight cops in there, like on the level cops.
Right.
She's in Ghost Cop. Uh-oh. Watch out. Face Off? Come on. You leave Face Off the list?
I don't have the list in front of me.
Oh, okay. Forget about it. Nah, all right. I
saw Face Off.
Yeah, you didn't.
I like Face Off.
Nicolas Cage and Travolta, right?
Yeah.
Both of those guys are hard to watch.
I was actually entertained watching that movie.
Me too. I was, I'm thinking to myself, wow, she didn't know that she was she didn't look at to see what was going on when they were sleeping with each other. She couldn't tell the difference.
Right.
If that's the only takeaway or the first takeaway of that movie, I feel even more vindicated about hating it. That's all I'll say. I mean, like, there's about a minute, or 2 minutes of that in the movie. And then what about the other hour and 42 minutes?
Right.
What about the other part of that movie? It's trash.
She walk around on cloud nine.
Those guys walk around with their faces literally off than that movie again.
I'm not watching it again, but I remember when I watched it, I thought it was half decent.
It sounded like you were looking to do it again.
Oh, that's not a stick and click, Bo.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I thought you were ready to go.
No.
I thought you were ready to go.
But we have ratings information regarding the NBA from the weekend. Did you see this?
No.
On Sunday, LeBron against the Phoenix Suns against the PGA Championship. The PGA drew 6.6 million viewers, which was up from 5.2 million last year and 5 million 2 years ago. The NBA topped out at, with Lakers Suns, 4.4 million.
Nah,
Wow.
that's
That's a knockout.
nah.
Man, it's crazy.
Look, you had one of the biggest stories in the history of the sport up against a game one.
But it's that sport, and it didn't involve Tiger Woods.
Well, I know, but
Okay.
yes, but that I don't think is the only thing involved. Like, that's a loaded statement. It did not involve Tiger Woods. It did involve arguably the second most popular, not best, but popular golfer of all time.
But not of all time, but of these times.
Well, okay, for people that are alive, I think.
Well, you also got to look at it. We're talking about the number one, media player, as far as, controlling the NBA was playing at the time.
Right.
You would think that
And he was playing against a good team.
Right. You would think it would be over as far as the ratings. You would think that'd be on tops of everything.
Not necessarily.
That's staggering to me that golf whipped their butt like that.
Oh, no
think
question.
You guys look at ratings. First off, I think the rating stuff is always skewed depending on which way it goes. It's the first round, game one, and nobody is. And first off, look at it comparative to other things. They pull over 4 million as opposed to it. So it's not a shot in the arm for the NBA, but it's not a knock so much either. And there are so many different circumstances that go around. Like, what happens next time around? If we're in the second round or we're in the third, are we going to get ratings updates about everything about what they do if they dominate? Probably not. And probably from people who want to see the NBA. So it comes and goes so much. And
you don't think that ESPN would be puffing their chest out if LeBron's next round clobbers the U.S. Open?
No
in a couple of weeks? Yes, they will.
Well, because it will, though, is the point.
Well, maybe.
I don't know. Maybe now. I'm thinking like it might not. We're talking about over 2 million viewers. That's a lot, man.
2 million.
Right.
So if you consider this, if Patrick Mahomes was playing, he could play anybody. They could be playing. Patrick Mahomes be playing Minnesota or maybe Detroit. You'd still have better ratings in golf because Patrick Mahomes is the number one draw in the NFL.
No. You could have Jacksonville playing Detroit.
No, the NFL would win, I think.
You'd have better ratings in golf. So
I think the NFL would win.
Yeah.
The NFL beats everything.
The draft beats the World Series.
Yeah.
So let's keep it in context. My
right. My fault.
No, hold on a second though. I'll meet you guys halfway. Let's revisit if the Suns are able to force an elimination or something on the brink of elimination.
You still don't think that the Suns are going to beat the Lakers? Are you serious?
Don't know.
Not without Chris Paul. Not without Chris Paul.
And if AD plays the way he played last night, and no Chris Paul to near 100%, I don't know, man.
I think AD played out of his mind. I think he played, and it was still a close game.
How about
they
him?
Were still hanging
Crowder
around
in the Jewels.
Yeah,
last
because
night.
they didn't have Chris Paul.
Terrible. Right. Now Chris Paul was there. I believe they'd have blew him out. I believe they'd have beat the Lakers outright.
I don't know how Chris Paul magically gets healthy.
He doesn't.
These are
problems.
That's a serious issue right there.
Yeah.
Right.
Bro, I saw because when he was taking his warm up off, and they tried to play it off, and then his teammate came over and helped him take his. I'm like, oh, I've been in that place before. I've been there where I can't lift my shoulder over my head,
right?
And you're just functionally just ineffective at that point because you have no strength in that arm. It all starts at the shoulder, and when that shoulder's not strong enough, you can do nothing with your hand, nothing with your arms. It's hard to play defense. It's hard to even dribble.
But then he ended up taking a couple of shots, even free throws and so forth. He must have gotten bumped on it again,
right,
during the game. I'm thinking, and aggravated it again.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the increase, just really quick, and look, I don't know why. If you want to use LeBron as some measuring stick, that's fine. But again, everything is so subjective. Like you can use whatever you want to fill in the blank as a measuring stick, good or bad, like the NFL or whatever it is that they're beating, baseball or LeBron, what have you. But the reality is that if you just look at it from a golf standpoint, that's where the narrative comes into play here, where you don't have Tiger Woods, and yet still you had an increase of 19% ratings, 28% viewership.
Right.
When it took place in August.
You think that's COVID viewership?
19 and 31% from 2019, Barrett, when it took place in May.
You think that stems from COVID, and golf was the first sport to really go out there and show something? You know, do you think that's
carrying over?
Yeah, is it like a byproduct of that? Because right now golf is big time. I mean, at this point, you know, I think that more people are trying to play golf than any other new experience as far as, you know, a sport.
Mm-hmm.
You know, more people are opening up to golf.
This thing was all Phil. And here's why. The lead-in coverage for ESPN, now some of this may just be because it's ESPN, and I recognize that. But the lead-in coverage on ESPN was minus 38% from an average and minus 37% down from viewership on Sunday, and 41% and 41% respectively on Saturday. Now, last year had Tiger Woods in it. So all of the peak and all of the viewership and all of the rush to the television wasn't even anticipatory. It was when Phil Mickelson was out there. And the peak viewership of it, I'm looking at this here, was 7 to 7:15 p.m. Eastern time, the second largest golf audience of any kind since the sport went on hiatus last year, behind the final round of this year's April's Masters, which again had we know who in it, and the final round of last year's November Masters. And that dominated last year's November Masters, which was 3-4-5-5-9. I'm telling Phil Mickelson, like that's the story here.
Well, the November Masters was going up against football too.
Correct. But look, if you want to go to the April Masters, that's fine. It beat it, not as dominant as the November one, but it still beat the Aprils. No, pardon me, behind the final year of this year's Masters. So it was behind the final round of this year's Masters, which was
Matsuyama.
Yes, and had people from an entire hemisphere tuning in to watch that.
Right.
I mean, we saw Yao Ming's jersey sell where he played 2 games and made the All-Star game because an entire continent was out there pushing. So think about, look, Phil Mickelson did something like that. I think is the story here. Is golf was thinking to themselves, you know, who's the next Tiger, all this other stuff about popularity. If Phil is in something, he's going to draw like Tiger. And I don't think anybody can ever say anything like that again.
I think it was a special case of it being Phil and it being him being 50 years old and it never having been done, you know, this old of a player winning a major. And it was a major. Like, I don't think normally Phil Mickelson winning at Torrey Pines in late January. No.
Hold on. You don't think that Phil Mickelson going back to back, belly to belly?
I said in January, like when they normally go to Torrey Pines. Like if he's in, you know, just winning a tournament.
Okay.
Now, if he's winning the U.S. Open in 3 weeks, yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Let's look at the U.S. Open and let's just say, look, if he's going up against LeBron James in anything other than an elimination game where LeBron is being eliminated, I would expect Phil Mickelson to beat the NBA LeBron.
Wow.
I'd expect that. Look, I think we get caught a lot of this. Aren't we sports fans? Look, Barrett's watching everything. Barrett's watching basketball. He'll probably flip over to golf. We had him watching hockey one night. Like Barrett, he's just a sports fan. He's sitting there probably still watching film on Trey Lance in his 1 year. So aren't we all sports fans? That was a fantastic sports story. So yeah, absolutely. Look, I got nothing. LeBron couldn't even keep me in that game in the second half last night because I knew how this thing was going to end when Chris Paul was out.
Yeah, so I turned it off.
I don't know.
Right,
I went to bed.
Me too. Me too.
I watched the overtime of the hockey, Carolina, Nashville, and then I went back to the NBA for a little while. But then I just knew. I knew the Suns had no chance last night.
None whatsoever. Once
I'm out.
I mean,
yeah,
I knew from the beginning when he couldn't take it, when Paul couldn't take his shirt off. But then I was thinking, all right, this should be a blowout then, especially the way the Lakers started out, and all of a sudden, foul here, foul there. You touch somebody, it's a foul. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah.
This is a rough sport.
Booker had a tough night. I know he ended up, getting his
31,
points, but most of them were from the free throw line. No threes. Right.
Me and Eric, I saw earlier, victim.
He had 1-3. He had 1-3, and that was it.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the game, I'm thinking, first thing I thought about, Shan put it on, and he went with the under.
No, he was 0 for 3. He was 0 for 3.
No,
you went with the over
1.5. Yeah.
It was 1.5, right? Okay. I was like, oh man, he's gonna be good.
Now, John Shelton, I saw this from earlier, asks, is this a Radio Wars segment hosted by Crossing Broad? When this was at 17, this is 8 minutes ago. When did we mention?
When we were talking about ratings.
For
the television. That's when I came through.
Because we weren't talking about ratings for Philadelphia Sports Radio. That's not a long conversation.
No.
That's pretty quick. That's in and that's out.
That's
Got Paul Goldschmidt, John Paul Jones, Ron Paul, a lot of Pauls out here. Paul Buckman, Paul Patrol, Paulie Shore, man, Paul Pierce. Just ask Larry Brown. You got a lot of not Aaron Paul. Where are you on all these?
How many of you guys cringed last night when you saw Crowder get kicked in the jewels?
Oh man, I was done.
I know I did.
I was done.
Oh,
tough.
When it first happened, I didn't need to see the replay.
I'm glad they
I
called
saw
it
when he fell.
foul
Yeah.
So we've got two things to get to really quick before Chase Hughes joins us in 13 minutes. One is, speaking of golf, a new match has just been announced, and there's a notable name left off, especially when one notable name was brought on, and that's all anybody's talking about right now, and hence the world in which we live in. And also, we have the Philadelphia 76ers game that I think we'll touch on at the very least before Chase joins us. It's the middle, the JAKIB Media YouTube page, and beyond Sports Map Radio as well. All right, we are back in 3. You guys see this match?
No, what is it?
Check it out.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. The savoring taste of a good bag of beef jerky is so enjoyable at any time of the day, as long as you can find it. Here's what we suggest. Pure Bull Beef Jerky is our answer, and soon it will be yours. Locally produced in the Philadelphia region, this high-quality, healthy protein snack is easy to secure. Go to steersnacks.com, and you'll see hot garlic, tropical heat, Pure Bull dry rub, and our favorite, Huck and Fod. What's that? Huck and Fod. Go now to steersnacks.com.
In the Wildwoods, our free beaches are spacious and welcoming with plenty of room to spread out. Your seat will be waiting for you when you're ready to visit. The Wildwoods, creating cherished family memories for generations.
Attention women of South Jersey and the Delaware Valley. Sign up right now with Our Lady NRA instructor Nayara Andrzak, who will teach you gun safety as part of this 3-hour safety class, which is being held at Delaware Valley Sports Center in Philadelphia. For information, drop an email to info@DelawareValleySportsCenter.com. That's info@DelawareValleySportsCenter.com. Learn the fundamentals at Delaware Valley Sports Center. You can't miss.
Are you looking for a place to track your action, purchase picks, and share your sports betting analysis with the gambling community? Check out Book It Sports, a social media platform with an unparalleled experience catered for the sports betting community. On the Book It Sports app, you can track all your NFL, NBA, and college basketball picks while getting real-time updates and injury reports all in one convenient place. Start building your following today and stand out amongst your friends by downloading the Book It Sports app on the Apple and Google Play stores. Let's cash some tickets and put it on Book It.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local Union 98, is a proud sponsor of The Labor Show with J. Doc and Krause every Saturday night from 6 till 8 p.m. IBEW Local 98's highly trained and superbly skilled electricians are the best in the business, setting the highest safety standards in the electrical industry. So when you're planning your next industrial, commercial, or residential project, choose an IBEW Local 98 union contractor. Learn more at IBEW98.org.
Today marks the first sports book to open in a U.S. arena or stadium. You know that? William Hill's book down at the Capital One Arena in D.C. opened today at noon. Opens today at noon.
Saw the AP, man. Got to get in with Rob Motti.
You're listening to The Middle on the Sports Map Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios. Here's Eytan Shander, Barrett Brooks, and Harry Mays.
Yeah, so Ash and others on the stream, Ron Culver, everybody but us, aware of this new match that's coming.
I got it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this involves all of us. This involves our main world, our governing body on this show, which, like anything that is sports-centric, is always going to be NFL first and foremost. Happen to have a guy who played in the NFL at pretty high level, so that's always cool. And then golf, which we sneak in here, and don't let Barrett fool you. He's the one bringing up the 1-iron and everything, so he knows the game. He plays the game. This is the new match that's out, and let me not be the first one to cast a stone. How about that? Because I feel like I'm painted as such an individual on this program that always casts the first stone. So I'm not going to cast the first stone, but I mean,
I will.
Here. All right, good. You cast. Go ahead.
I'll do it. All right, so it's on July the 6th. This just came out via The Athletic. I'm seeing this.
Now, that's the New York Times Athletic, or is that just The Athletic?
TheAthletic.com.
Okay, because the New York Times is going to buy The Athletic.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, which I guess is Vox, right? So
I have no idea.
Back to the dust in which you were created. It's
all right. On July the 6th, the golf event, The Match, will return, and it's going to include Phil Mickelson and his buddy Tom Brady. They're teaming up again.
Yeah.
But this time, they're taking on Bryson DeChambeau, Eytan's boy, and Green Bay Packers, at least for the time being, quarterback Aaron Rodgers.
Great match.
And it's going to be hosted in Montana at a golf course called Moonlight Basin in Big Sky, Montana. And it's going to benefit charities. You've been there?
Yeah, Big Sky is paradise for powder, man. And I'm not talking about the powder, man. I'm talking about that powder. All right. Now, there may be you may have some powder with powder.
Right.
But not Powder the movie.
Right.
But
no, I saw that movie.
Did you?
Yeah.
I regret seeing that movie.
See?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Not very good.
It's amazing. You don't regret seeing Face Off, but you have no problem saying you regret seeing Powder.
But I will cast the first stone at this new incarnation of the match, because in light of what just happened over the weekend and the social media hijacking of Phil Mickelson's win with the whole Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau thing, you got to add another twosome. You got to put Koepka and Peyton Manning in this event, so at least we have some chance of major trash talk and maybe some physical violence between Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau. Okay?
Look.
Are you reading what I'm writing?
Yep.
Right.
We talked about it yesterday, and that's all Barrett wanted, and I was cautious because maybe one of these guys is going to, be too tight on day one at Torrey Pines or the Open or wherever it may be. And in this particular case, in this particular setting, I couldn't agree with you more, Harry. This should foster that type of behavior. So all of the people like Barrett who are bloodlusting this thing, you get what you want.
Yes.
Action.
And they can add a twosome very easily. Peyton Manning can free up a couple days. He can fly up there in his private plane with Brooks. And, they've got to make this happen. In and out of Montana in 2 days. Boom. Ratings bonanza.
Oh, man, it'd be unbelievable.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even be about the pros. It'd be all about those two. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd pay money for that.
Well, that's the thing. This thing can only lose steam right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no way it can. The only way the match gains steam is if Brooks, Koepka, and Bryson no longer beef. because then you can go back to selling it as an event without having to worry about that person just saying, well, actually, it doesn't have Brooks Koepka in it.
Right. So they'd have to kiss and make up at the U.S. Open next month.
Well, this real though. Hold on, this is real. You know what I'm saying? Brooks and Bryce, that's realness. You're not just gonna kiss and make up with that. That's just not happening.
Absolutely.
That's almost like a Jordan with Isaiah type of beef right now.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
I think it's more one-sided though. I think it's more Koepka annoyed with DeChambeau. I don't think DeChambeau really cares.
Yeah, but
he's more worried about his, gaining speed on his, his swing speed. Like I don't think he really thinks about Brooks Koepka too much.
I don't know, Barrett or Harry, and I asked because we see this guy get affected by things that it doesn't seem to impact other guys as open. Like he's got a really bad poker face, right? When something's going wrong, and it seems like little things can get to him and tinkering with him. At the same time, when he perfects something, it's beautiful because he's such a scientist. So I wonder if Koepka looks at him like, this is a nerd that I can pick on. Mm-hmm. And in the exterior, Bryson is doing everything he can to be like, all right, don't give in, don't give in. But there's something that's off that he just can't let go. I don't know. I could see it quietly burning Bryson up. Just because of what I see on the outside. I don't pretend to know anything more about Bryson DeChambeau than that.
Yeah. Well, they did, and Play Action Reel is referring to this on the stream. There's a meme out that came out yesterday, which I'm hoping you guys saw. It was somebody took the Koepka face and has DeChambeau kissing him on the neck, like coming in, like you would come into your wife or your girlfriend or whatever, and just laying one on him on his neck.
All right, we're back in 3. It's the middle. It
was hilarious.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. I thought you were talking about the Rodgers one.
Go search for it, and if you could pull it up on the screen, it's hilarious.
Wait, what about this guy here?
Who?
Aaron Rodgers, man.
He's in Hawaii right now on vacation with his girlfriend or fiance and another couple. Did you see that?
Oh, instead of being at
yeah, the Packers are at camp, and he's like in water, underneath a waterfall in Hawaii.
Wow.
Wish you were here, Gundenheist, or whatever the hell that guy's name is.
Gutekunst.
Yeah.
He looks like a hippie, too. Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, he's got like the wild facial hair. His hair's getting long.
That's all applaud.
He looks like he might be touring with the Dead and Company this summer.
Is this like Zeke and Cabo?
It might be. It might be that. It just might be that.
Bruder, not a single Packers starting wide receiver showed up at OTAs. Shoot, I wouldn't either.
Yeah, why would you?
Right. Not Moonlight Graham. See, Ron sent me that as well, and I saw Play Action Reel.
Yeah, he kind of looks like he should be out surfing and stuff too.
Doesn't he?
Yeah, you're right. That's good work by you here. That's good detective work right there.
Yeah. I just saw that this morning before the show. And we do have to make a mention. I saw this on the stream, and I wrote this down in my notes today. Barrett needs to put on the Phillies cap at some point during the show.
Why is that?
And then I will bring up the Vinny Velo numbers, which are quite staggering over his last 6 starts.
I faded the hell out of his ass last night, hoping that would be the night. That would be the moment. And it didn't work out.
No, it's pretty unbelievable.
Two things, man. First of all, A-Rod looks like he's been working out a little bit. He's a little ripped up, man. He used to look like just the guy, Right. No, he's kind of ripped up, got abs and stuff. And then what you mentioned in the break last time, the fact that we have a major book in a sports
stadium arena,
that's huge, man. Yeah. That's they have been yin and yang for the not even yin and yang, oil and water for a long time. Now they're starting to bring them in. I mean, hell, look at we have guys that Pete Rose that can't even get into the Hall of Fame, and now they have these books inside of stadiums.
Right.
Well,
we got to consider it, man. We've got to consider
players that are allowed to go inside those things. Let's bring on Chase. What's up, Chase?
What's going on?
Chase,
how you doing, man?
Hey, Chase.
Doing well. I'm wondering myself about the sports book at the arenas.
Yeah, that's your arena.
Yeah, we're down. So we're back, actually coming back. We're live on our stream show right now. We're going to be back on the radio network coming up in about 8 seconds. So
cool,
as you hear in the back. So we'll definitely get to that for sure.
This is The Middle on the Sports Map Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios. Here's Eytan Shander, Barrett Brooks, and Harry Mays.
All right, we go down to D.C., technically game 2 here in South Philadelphia, but bring on Chase Hughes, as you can see him on the JAKIB Media YouTube page, Philly Voice and beyond, and hear him now on Sports Map Radio. Follow Chase on Twitter at Chase Hughes, NBCS, covering the Wizards, the NBA, for NBC Sports Washington. Our own Barrett Brooks here, of course, NBC Sports Philadelphia, so we'll keep it here in the fam. And
what's up, brethren?
Look at game 2.
What's going on?
I'm sure you guys have similar issues going on in the office down in D.C. that you have in Philadelphia. I'm sure it's a long conversation of many grievances that both of you share in any corporate setting. We get that. So if you don't mind, Barrett, we'll put that on the back burner and talk about the Sixers first, if that's okay.
Plus we don't want HR in our emails that I'll never see, but you know.
Absolutely right. Barrett is known. I don't know if okay, actually this may be a good place to start, Chase. Barrett is the guy in the building who is known, despite having that beautiful, just cheesy, happy smile that can melt and fool anybody, never checking his email, never doing what he's supposed to do, just being the guy that's so happy and positive, yet doesn't do what he's supposed to do when it comes to administrative stuff.
Look, I don't do the rise.
I'm sure you have a guy like that on the
He doesn't do teleprompters.
I don't do teleprompter
unless he's told to tweet.
Exactly. I'm sure you have a guy like that.
That's actually me. So everyone who works, they have the same complaints.
Yes. Yes. What's the buzz, man, down there? Like, we get it. It was
is there any buzz?
Well, yes, I would imagine there is, simply because you have two guys that are just must-watch television, no matter what the situation is, in Russ and Bradley Beal. But I'm just curious, Chase, as far as what happened in game 1, what's kind of happened around the league with game 2s, really, except for what happened last night with the Clippers. Where is the mentality, do you think, with the team and the fan base heading into this game about how winnable it can be?
I think there's some confidence drawn from the way the regular season went for the Wizards, that time and time again, they were down and they had to kind of punch back. I mean, it happened in the play-in tournament. They lost their first play-in game. Down the stretch, Bradley Beal got hurt. Of the regular season, they had to bounce back from that. And then, of course, just all the injuries they've had, being 15 games under 500, terrible bout with the coronavirus that affected more than half their team. They're kind of used to coming back. Now, obviously, they got long odds against the number 1 team in the conference, and you're playing in a 7-game series. It's really difficult to pull off an upset. But I think in the early goings of this series, they just draw some confidence in the resiliency that they've shown all year. Now they just have to deal with a Sixers team that is obviously very deep. You can get Joel Embiid in foul trouble in the first half, just like they wanted to, and still see other guys like Tobias Harris beat you.
Yeah, what is the biggest adjustment or two that the Wizards need to make in order to have a chance to grab a game tonight?
I think it's trying to stop Tobias Harris. They overloaded on Joel Embiid. And I think they sagged off a little too much on Tobias Harris. I watched that game back. Of course, he had 28 points in the first half and 37 in the game. And there were some common mistakes they made, which is basically giving him too much space, and not just for open shots from 3, but also, I think they came to learn, he's really good at catch and goes. If you're not close enough to him and he catches the ball, he can blow right past you. And he's extremely adept at scoring in the paint, not necessarily through contact. He's just super smooth. He's got fadeaways. He's really good at coming off screens. Dwight Howard had 9 screen assists. I think Rui Hachimura, their second-year forward, is the guy who's going to continue to be assigned to Tobias Harris. So it's really on him to adjust.
At this point, I just listening to what Russ Westbrook has said, he's never goes and has a back-to-back bad game. I didn't think he had a good game this last game. I think they kind of shut him down a little bit, but he learned from former Sixer Maurice Cheeks that a real pro never has 2 bad games in a row. What do we expect from Russell this game that we didn't see from him last week? Last game.
That's a good question. I think there were some things that he did that probably generally are the signs of good refs. He was getting to the rim. The Wizards had 72 points in the paint, which was actually, I came to learn, was a record for as far as playoff records go back to 1996. So they were able to get into the paint. He didn't shoot the best percentage. I think it was around 40%. So he'll probably want to get that higher. The turnovers weren't terrible. I would guess that he's going to probably want to adjust better defensively. In the second half, we saw guys like Seth Curry and Danny Green get going from long range. That's something that it'll be his responsibility to clean up. And then also, I think he would probably look back at that game and see how guys like Davis Bertans went cold in the second half. Rui Hachimura went cold. And he always kind of sees that as his responsibility to get them going. You get into the paint, and that's what allows Davis Bertans to get open on the perimeter. But the Sixers just do such a good job on the perimeter. They got so much length, and they're so quick. They're so good at taking those shots away.
Yeah, I wonder, and it's just unfortunate because it's the circumstance around these two guys. You mentioned Bertans and Hachimura, and just the likelihood of one, if not both of those guys, Chase, going cold in a stretch of a game is just going to be there, and it's something you have to deal with. Now, on the flip side, those are your best options outside of the top two, as you know, in that backcourt. But it's the playoffs, and things change, things slow down, foul trouble. Is there a scenario that you see in which, similarly, as we've seen, I guess, with the Splash Brothers, and then to a lesser extent where it always falls short with the backcourt in Portland, but both of those guys dealing with combos, I know, dealing with better teams around them. Can this just be back and forth, Beal Westbrook controlling the game to the point in which you blink and you look up and it's a 2-point game with 2.5 left, and it really didn't matter if your third or fourth option has gone cold because you've been able to control possessions with one of your two guys in the backcourt? I don't know if that's possible, but could you possibly see a path to that?
I think if they play better defensively, giving up 125 points, that changes the margin for error for them. But they've been at their best the last few months of the season when they've been playing really good defense, defending the 3-point line, preventing points in the paint. So if they do that and it's a lower scoring game, then you can see Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal be the separators. But it's been Westbrook for the most part this season. If you look at their clutch numbers, he's been much better in the clutch. He's been one of the most clutch players in the league. His field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, free throw percentage, all of them skyrocket in clutch situations, which is the final 5 minutes of regulation and overtime when it's within 5 points. Bradley Beal's percentages actually kind of plummet. And we've seen throughout this year Russell Westbrook be their closer. There was a game about 6 weeks ago they played the Pelicans, and they went to overtime, and he scored 10 of their 12 points. So I think you see sometimes in these close games, Russell Westbrook in particular in that fourth quarter be the separator. But in game one, it was really the third quarter. Even though Bradley Beal scored 17 points in that quarter, the Wizards were outscored by 7, and all the other 3 quarters were super close. They were within 1 point of each other. So I think the Wizards will look back at that and try to adjust. But yeah, I would say that it's generally Westbrook if they can keep it close, and it's all about defense.
Hey, Chase, what can you tell us about the attendance or the capacity adjustment when this series shifts back to D.C.?
Yeah, it keeps going up. It's going to be 50% when they return for games 3 and games 3 and 4. And, the Wizards had to wait pretty much longer than any other team just to get 10% capacity. And they started with 10%, and then it was 25% for the play-in games. And now it looks like it's going to be 50%. And, the first game I went to was the second play-in game. It was 25% capacity. It was my first live sporting event since March of 2020. I didn't, go to the bubble or anything like that. And I wasn't there for much of the season. And there was definitely a pretty good atmosphere, even though it was 25%. Certainly the crowd made a difference, I think. And if the Wizards, if you look back since they started allowing fans, they've won 10 out of their last 11 games at home. So it's been interesting to kind of watch the NBA. Some arenas have more fans than others, and it's created this imbalance in terms of home court advantage, which, of course, we didn't see in last year's playoffs because they were in the bubble.
Let me ask you this, man. Do you see that, I'm just me saying this personally. I think we have a decided advantage as far as coaching. I think Doc Rivers really has the pulse of our team. What do you feel about Scott Brooks and the way he's handled this, going, latter part of this season and going into the playoffs?
It's been interesting to watch because obviously when they were 15 games under 500 and you're talking about a guy who doesn't have a contract beyond this season. I think questions were really fair about whether he would last the rest of the year, and the Wizards stuck with him. And, early on in the season, he was trying all these lineups that weren't working, 3 point guard lineups, trying all these rotations. And even when they were healthy, they weren't winning. And it was like, is this guy the problem? And then down the stretch of the season, when they won 17 of 23, 17-6 to close the year, it was like not everything he tried worked. They tried this 3 point guard or 3 guard lineup with Raul Neto in the starting lineup, him, Russell Westbrook, and Bradley Beal. And that helped key a defensive turnaround along with better rim protection. So it's really kind of a fascinating question when you evaluate his future, because they actually made the playoffs when everyone left them for dead. And I don't think anyone expected that to happen a couple months ago. But I think a lot of people are watching very closely the adjustments he makes in this series, because it does seem to a certain degree like he's coaching for his job.
But it seems like, I thought it was more so Russell that made that transition into, all right, I'm not allowing us not to be out of the playoffs. Would you say it's more of the players, or is it Scott that made this happen?
I would say probably more than the players, more the players, just because of how good Russell Westbrook became. And also, I just kind of have a longstanding belief that the NBA is more about the players than coaches. I feel like they don't have nearly as much control over the structure of the game that you see in the NFL and even Major League Baseball. And it's one of the reasons why you rarely see a coach take over and teams just go from worst to first. In those other sports, they script everything. In the NBA, I feel like you see a coach's value more so in player development, management of egos, and also certainly after timeout plays and stuff like that. And Scott Brooks actually shows up pretty well in those. But I feel like you see the correlation of when they've won and lost has been pretty simple. It's when they're healthy. When they aren't healthy, they haven't been able to win. And I guess you could say that's a reflection of him, because generally the best NBA coaches, like Brad Stevens, for instance, in Boston, I think he's really good. It seems like it doesn't matter who's in that rotation, whether it's the offseason or injuries. They always seem to keep moving along, although this year I guess would be the exception.
So I'm curious here, and yes, there's a betting element to it underneath.
Here we go.
Picture that.
Here we go.
But tonight, for example, and let's just further the narrative that even if it's a close game, which is fine, or it's a little bit of a stretch, Sixers win, they win the second game in the series. Russell Westbrook bounces back, but what area do you think he would struggle in? Like, which of the 3 main categories that he presents on a nightly basis to go double digits do you think would suffer? Is it his inability to grab rebounds or maybe distribute or even score, you think, with Simmons and others on him that would kind of put clamps down?
That's a really good question. I feel like rebounding has generally been his most consistent category when it comes to the triple doubles, but lately his assists have just been out of this world. I mean, he closed the season. There were a bunch of 20 assist games. I mean, against Indiana, I think it was the night that he tied Oscar Robertson. He became the first player ever to have 24 assists and 21 rebounds in a game. But you look at game 1 and he only had 5 rebounds, right? So maybe it's something about the size of Philadelphia, or maybe an adjustment the Wizards made. So I would just point to that category just because of the recency and the matchup. And we already saw it in game 1. He got plenty of assists. He didn't get the rebounds.
All right, so we'll take a quick one here, a couple more questions, quick one on the network, still live on the stream here with Chase. And Chase Hughes, of course, and we'll tell you everything about as far as at Chase Hughes NBCS on Twitter, covering the NBA, the Wizards for NBC Sports Washington. So we're back in 3 on Sports Map Radio. So I had the number at 11.5, and it was high. I thought, because of what you were saying with the consistency of rebounds, but then the last sample size that we've had, which is somewhat decent, assists have been up there. So I was tempted to go under 11.5 tonight. But after what you said, I might just stay away from it, because even at a 9 or 10 assist night, I don't want to sweat that out in a close game with 4 minutes left. Texting Barrett. I knew I should have trusted Chase and not my idiot self.
Wow. I always like to ask this type of question. We get guys on from around the country, because I know DC has always been a Washington football team town. But you've had championships now won by the Caps and the Nationals in the last couple of years. Where do the Wiz, where do they fall in the hierarchy of Washington sports?
Definitely 4th. They haven't even won 50 games or been to the conference finals since 1979. It's been a long time. So I think that's probably a big reason for that.
Wes Unseld era.
Yeah, exactly. Wes Unseld was on the team.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. And they were the Bullets, and they weren't that far removed from moving from Baltimore. So it's been a long time. Anytime you lose for 40 years, that's going to have an effect on the fan base. While everyone else has won at least somewhat recently, and then football's football. But I've always had this theory that if everything was equal, if the Wizards were, say, as good as the Sixers, the top team in the conference, and they had a player who was in the MVP race like Joel Embiid, like they had with Bryce Harper and Max Scherzer and Alex Ovechkin with the Caps, that the Wizards would be second just because that's the way you see it around the country. And it's a basketball town for sure. The Wizards just haven't been good enough to make everything equal.
Wow, that's crazy, man. You know what? Do you get along with the other guys in in the network? I mean, like B Mitch. Like everybody loves me and my thing, but you and B Mitch get along. That's all I want to know, man. B Mitch can be kind of he's one of those guys, but that's my guy. I love
likes
him.
to stir it up.
Right.
Mitch, yeah.
Oh, no.
Definitely.
I get along just fine with B Mitch. He always likes to make fun of me, but also when a guy you can tell that you still don't want to mess with him. Whatever age he is, you still don't want to mess with him. Like I remember there's a story in the office where one time I was walking around the corner in the break room and I smelled someone was like microwaving fish. And I was like, oh man, that's such a office faux pas. Yes, and I walked around the corner, it was B Mitch, and it was like, no one's saying anything to him at all.
But see, seriously, like
that's bad form
to him, but that's terrible form.
Yeah.
Like HR needs to say.
What is this? What do you mean? I didn't know
microwave fish.
Yeah, you can't do
First
that.
First of all, fish should never be reheated.
No.
It was salmon too, and I think it didn't seem like it was fresh salmon.
Oh man.
I'm glad you guys told me that because I'd be that guy, and then one of my coworkers, Amy Fadul, yeah.
If she caught you reheating fish, like first off, forget the office setting. Why would you reheat fish in the first place?
Well, at least with Barrett, he'd be reheating fish that he caught.
Right.
Chase Hughes is hanging out with us. I'm not sure if he's regretting it just quite yet, but we're probably getting to that point. Again, follow Chase on Twitter at Chase Hughes NBCS. We did talk. I threw a little prop stuff at you there just because of my own personal interests, but as we were before you came on, as we were talking in the previous segment about the book, and Harry mentioned that as far as it opening up, it's pretty big news down there in DC.
Yeah, absolutely. And DC's been kind of at the forefront of this because Ted Leonsis, the owner of the Wizards and the Capitals, has been talking about it for years. I mean, I think he was pretty integral in some of the legislation, sort of lobbying the local jurisdictions to allow sports books, and it all came just so fast. Previously people around here had to drive all the way to West Virginia. I would drive with my dad. He likes to go every year. Yeah, to Charlestown, West Virginia. He likes to bet on the Washington football team, believe it or not. And last year he cleaned up because, the over under for wins is like 5.5 wins. And they actually won the division. He bet on that. And, Chase Young, defensive player of the year, or rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year. So now, there's sports books. There's supposed to be one at Nationals Park, at Capital One Arena, and I think it's all new to us. And there was a column in the Washington Post recently by Barry Sferluga, a great columnist, and he made a lot of interesting points about how this is a slippery slope. We don't want this to become glorified Keno, I think is what he said. So I haven't really been exposed to it. People having diverging interests in the crowd, but I do wonder how it's going to play out.
I'll tell you, the best area where I think this really can help a sport is to be able to go to a game, not leave your seat, and live bet baseball.
Baseball, yeah.
That truly, because look, the criticism is always, oh, the kids are on their iPad. They're not leaving anyway. So you might as well give them something to do that complements the game. NBA, NFL, man, NFL game, no offense, Barrett, but you guys could be out there moving around for 2 minutes and that could be the entire game. But you know what? We'll still sit there and watch and consume everything. So, and go crazy and stuff. Baseball, I think, is where it really can help.
Yeah, and that reminds me, I saw a conversation with Rob Manfred recently where Adam Silver told him, he's like, what are you doing with this pace of play stuff? He's like, don't speed up the game. He's like, it's perfectly calibrated for betting because you have time in between every pitch to bet on every pitch, every play. So it's interesting that Adam Silver would make that point. And I think pace of play in baseball is an issue, but if betting is going to, drive everything, then it does make a lot of sense.
All right, we're back in 3. Chase, thanks so much, brother. We appreciate you. This was awesome.
Thanks a lot,
do it
man.
again.
Definitely, bro. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about between the two cities. So
Yeah.
thanks again.
Take it easy.
At Chase Hughes NBCS on Twitter.
And we are back in 3.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. The savoring taste of a good bag of beef jerky is so enjoyable at any time of the day, as long as you can find it. Here's what we suggest. Pure Bull beef jerky is our answer, and soon it will be yours. Locally produced in the Philadelphia region, this high-quality, healthy protein snack is easy to secure. Go to steersnacks.com, and you'll see hot garlic, tropical heat, Pure Bull dry rub, and our favorite, Huck and Fod. What's that? Huck and Fod. Go now to steersnacks.com.
In the Wildwoods, our free beaches are spacious and welcoming with plenty of room to spread out. Your seat will be waiting for you when you're ready to visit. The Wildwoods, creating cherished family memories for generations.
Attention women of South Jersey and the Delaware Valley. Sign up right now with Our Lady NRA instructor Nayara Andrzak, who will teach you gun safety as part of this 3-hour safety class, which is being held at Delaware Valley Sports Center in Philadelphia. For information, drop an email to info@DelawareValleySportsCenter.com. That's info@DelawareValleySportsCenter.com. Learn the fundamentals at Delaware Valley Sports Center. You can't miss.
Are you looking for a place to track your action, purchase picks, and share your sports betting analysis with the gambling community? Check out JAKIB Sports, a social media platform with an unparalleled experience catered for the sports betting community. On the JAKIB Sports app, you can track all your NFL, NBA, and college basketball picks while getting real-time updates and injury reports all in one convenient place. Start building your following today and stand out amongst your friends by downloading the JAKIB Sports app on the Apple and Google Play stores. Let's cash some tickets and put it on Book It.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local Union 98, is a proud sponsor of The Labor Show with J. and Krause every Saturday night from 6 till 8 p.m. IBEW Local 98's highly trained and superbly skilled electricians are the best in the business, setting the highest safety standards in the electrical industry. So when you're planning your next industrial, commercial, or residential project, choose an IBEW Local 98 union contractor. Learn more at IBEW98.org.
Yeah, man. It's got a lot going on down in DC, man.
Yeah. Yep. Well, their hockey team was just eliminated, though, which
yeah,
they saw coming. But did you watch your boy Vinny Velo last night?
No, I didn't.
No,
I didn't. No.
Shut out the Marlins. His last 6 starts, he's gone 32 2/3 innings. Allowed only 22 hits, 8 earned runs allowed, 14 walks to 36 strikeouts, and all that converts to a 2.2 earned run average and a 1.1 whip. And with runners in scoring position, hitters are 0 for 27 against him with 11 strikeouts.
Wow. Come on, man.
They're crediting this pitching coach, Caleb Cotham, I hope I pronounced that right, in working with him from the stretch. And they noticed that his glitch was he'd be nice until somebody got on base, and then he'd be going from the stretch, and they noticed a drop-off. So he worked with him on that.
Well, you know what, man? Maybe it's just that's what it is. Maybe they can come up out of the mist of darkness. You know what? They're not far out of the race right now, though.
They're one game under 500. No, they're not far out of it, but I mean they got a lot of injured guys now.
Yeah. I mean, what is it? They're like 2 weeks out of being like fully healthy, right?
Yeah, they got guys on the 10 days and they're retroactive and all this stuff. It's like, but if that consistency could maintain, you put him with Wheeler and Nola, and then you have Eflin. It's not terrible.
Right. With a little hope. Just a little hope. 2.2 is pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Considering, you know what I mean? Considering.
Yeah.
Can you believe, man, all these no-hitters that's been going on?
Yeah, I know. Well, there's no balls in play.
Right.
I mean,
is either go deep
or strike out.
Yeah, one of the two.
That's been, happening the last couple of years, and that's why I'm out on the sport. Now, it would help if the Phillies were really good. Like if they were the Dodgers, sure, I'd be interested in it. But I mean, I don't know how you can not be just a casual bandwagon fan of that sport because of the nature of the game today.
Yeah. It's hard. You're right.
It really is, because it's not entertaining.
Nope. You don't see anything that would help you as far as, looking at putting runners in scoring position. There's none of that. There's none of that going on right now.
This is a Gal Media property in partnership with JAKIB Media.
And you, my friend, are caught in the middle.
The Middle starts now on the Sports Map Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage. Home loans that fit your life. Rocket can.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Eytan Shander, Barrett Brooks, and Harry Mays.
You know my name.
I mistakenly jumped on Twitter to try and find a video that I wanted to play today. And I looked over and saw something trending in the United States. Now, take this for what it's worth, because the number associated with the amount of times it's been tweeted and why it's trending in the United States is only 1,261. So I don't know how that could constitute a trend in my neighborhood, let alone the United States. But here we are. A sign appearing to be at the Steak 48 restaurant in Philadelphia mandating $100 minimum per person has sparked some discussion. So now you have people saying, oh, my God, I'll never go there. To now people saying, oh, really? You'll never go there? Great. That just makes me want to go there.
Right.
That's what's come out of this. And guess who wins?
Vulcan mind trick.
Exactly. And guess who wins, Barrett? At the end of the day, who's the winner here? Because it ain't the people going back and forth on Twitter. It's Steak 48.
Right.
Well, Steak 48 is pretty good, man.
Of course it is. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to get away with doing $100 minimum. I've never been there, but I can tell you that this is not going to backfire. They're not going to lose patronage as a result of this.
I don't.
Go ahead.
I don't know that $100 goes that far there, does it?
It doesn't. That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
I've never been there where I've ever spent less than $150 a person when I've been there. I mean, you get you 3 drinks and a main course, not even an appetizer, and you're sitting right at $100 right there. I mean, it's good food, but it's not something you want to do just randomly. You know what I'm saying? You splurge every once in a while.
The other thing I noticed on Twitter, I don't know if you saw this, Eytan, but our boy Jake Asman is going back and forth, going at it with Josh Innes about Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
Oh, is that right? We may need to investigate.
Yeah.
Oh. Jake Asman. I don't know him to be a fighter like that.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Not like he can't. I just didn't think he'd be a Twitter beefer. We're back on the network at 3. It's the middle. Oh, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Stumbled upon something?
The verified account of Jake Asman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
He says, I just see Innes tweeting, it's a basketball arena. By nature, they are all cavernous and void of personality. Your building just happens to be in New York. He goes, if you think the Garden is a crappy building, you either have never been to MSG or are just trolling.
Oh.
It's an incredible arena experience for basketball, hockey, and especially concerts. And the furthest thing from cavernous and void of personality. It's also been renovated multiple times and feels brand new, not old at all. Asman coming to the defense of the edifice known as the world's most famous arena.
No question. I mean, even to go, like if I go to a game there, there's no way I would drive up to New York. You got to catch the subway. It's right there.
It takes you right there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a stop. So get off right there, go in, partake in whatever event you're in, jump right back on the train, go right back home.
Yeah. I did that once to go see the Rangers play the Flyers.
See,
took the train up from Philly. You walk right upstairs, boom, see the game, go right back home.
Well, what's the actual beef?
He's saying that he's saying that it's worthless being there. It's not built up to what everybody builds it up to be. It's not
Garden?
really. Yeah,
like the Garden. If you just look at everything that's done and has been done in that arena.
Right.
It's one of the most famous arenas on the planet.
Yeah.
No question.
Right.
From music to boxing to
But I think that's Innes's point. It's basically the reason for that is because it's in New York. Like things happen in New York.
Well, okay, but what does that mean? Like if you transported the Garden to Topeka,
Hartford, Connecticut.
Well, yeah, well, they've got Toad's Place. I'll tell you, Toad's Place, you laugh, but some of the biggest acts in the history of music have performed at Toad's Place. All right? I mean, do I need to go down the list? Van Halen to Duran Duran to Public Enemy.
Okay.
Right? To Blues Traveler or whatever the hell they are.
Yeah. I think his point is if you put the MSG in Baltimore, it's just an arena.
I don't. That's just, that point doesn't make sense.
No.
Like what? If I put you on Mars, Harry, you're just a Martian. Like it doesn't make sense to me. Yes, you have major. Like, does that devalue the acts that came there and the music that has been performed there because it was in New York?
No, it adds to it.
Exactly. The history alone adds to it. But that's just like saying
this seems like a stupid argument between these two knuckleheads. And I know both of them, at least.
Oh, yeah.
This is The Middle on the SportsMap Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios. Here's Eytan Shander, Barrett Brooks, and Harry Mays.
We got Jeff Parles. Until then, what?
Well, we got to figure out what other quarterback we can add to this match to play alongside Brooks Koepka. Because Ron Culver has texted me that Peyton Manning is so closely associated with Tiger Woods that he probably wouldn't do it. So you've got to get somebody else. And he suggested Phillip Rivers, who is now coaching high school football. And I said, because he said Phillip Rivers would be chatting the whole time. He'd be, trash talking, which he probably would be.
Yeah.
But I don't even know that he plays golf. You have to have some sort of game.
Yeah.
I know Drew Brees has a game.
Okay.
Isn't there anybody else? Like, why can't it? Does it have to be somebody retired?
What about Mahomes? Does he play golf?
Like seriously, you can't give me.
I would go Russ before I go home. I'd go Russ
Russ?
before I go home. Yeah, I would go with Russ.
You know what? Here's why I think Westbrook works. Is because Westbrook.
Wilson.
Russ. He said Russ. So.
Oh, okay.
I just always refer. It's the NFL and Barrett who refers to Russ as to Wilson. To me, Westbrook. But I think Russell Wilson has this sense of awkwardness in him that, similar to Tom Brady, that comes out when he's when he's not trying to, like that whole Mr. Unlimited.
Yeah.
That was real to him at first, at least.
Well, doesn't Mahomes sort of have that too? With those commercials with Aaron Rodgers? There's the tie-in too, by the way.
Nah,
he's a little more hip. He's a little more hip than Russ. And look, Ash has a great Tony Romo. That's great.
That really would be
that's pretty good.
Then you might as well do it. Because here's the thing. Romo could go out there and for a couple of holes do stuff that would be closer to the pros than these idiots. Like Aaron Rodgers. Come on, man.
He's pretty good.
Romo or Rodgers?
No, Rodgers is pretty good. He's a pretty good golfer.
Manning until he crapped out.
No, Romo is really good. I mean, really good. Like he could have. They said he could have. He's really close to being a professional.
Nah,
That's what I heard.
Yeah, you heard wrong.
Hate to do it to you.
People that say that don't realize how good those guys are.
Oh, bro,
honestly.
I know.
Right.
Because there's no way they let me on a course with somebody that's even the 100 best player in the world is probably 1,000 times better than I am. So I wouldn't even. That's why I laugh at some people when they say, all right, they talk about, oh, this football player is trash. That football player that played in the NFL would smash you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The regular guy. I said before. And I think that's kind of what people are saying about this whole thing that's going on with Jackson and all those guys, because they're all saying that Kwame Brown was trash, but still he would go out and trash just about 90%, 99% of any other player that's not in the league, that hasn't been in the league.
Okay, yeah.
So they're like, well, how can you talk crazy about somebody being trash when you never been to the league? Now, this guy was the first pick, so he can't be that bad. And that's why he was getting on Stephen A. Stephen A couldn't even make it. But yet you're talking trash about him. You know what I'm saying? You didn't even get an opportunity to play pro, and you're supposed to be a good basketball player.
Hey, take it up with the people paying Stephen A. Smith $10 million a year to talk about that.
Right.
And the reason is because, and this is it. Like, Kwame Brown attacking Stephen A. Smith is like putting a Band-Aid on a wound on your arm where your hand's been severed. It's the people out there that have been led to believe that Stephen A. is more credible in basketball than people playing it because of the vehicle behind him in ESPN and validating it by a contract. So what Kwame needs to be doing is going after people, and not after, but trying to say, like, look, stop listening to this guy. But then you sound like an idiot, right? Because everybody is just a sheep moving. Oh, I got to watch ESPN. I got to watch Fox Sports. I got to see what they say. I got to see what they say. You got to see what Skip Bayless says. You got to see what Stephen A. says.
Yeah.
Max Kellerman says.
I gave up doing that about 10 years ago.
Though.
Yeah.
Like those people are like, I don't understand how anybody who works in this business uses anything they say as a barometer, first and foremost. So then why people who watch it? But then you're right, Barrett. That goes back to where Kwame, and look, a lot of times when you step up against something that just is expected and understood and then accepted, you look like the idiot, right? You look like the crazy person. You look like the rogue. Come on, man, you sucked. And it's easy to go back to it because Stephen A. and others are using that stuff. So that's why I think that it's you're right, but it's so much deeper than that because of people just flocking. Like, who in their right mind would go to Skip Bayless and then come out and say, okay, that man helped me formulate my opinion? Say that out loud. Like, who would do that? That man helped me formulate my opinion today on sports.
Shay, would you say it out loud?
Yeah.
Said no one ever.
But you know what, Harry? I think people are doing it. It's like when a political poll comes around and says, are you going to vote for this person? And everybody's like, no, because they don't want their name outed about who they're voting for. And then you find out that politician, after you were told from the polling office, nobody's going to vote for, you find out that's your next governor, or that's your next mayor, or that's your next president.
Yeah.
Because nobody publicly wanted to admit who they were voting for, yet privately everybody did. I think that's what's happening here. People are publicly on Twitter saying, look at this idiot, look at this MF, look at this guy.
But then they're watching it.
Yes. Or at least they're watching.
That's not me. I ain't watching.
Kwame's right. We need that hashtag going.
Yeah.
Look, man. If you see if you see Russell, I just real quick, Harry, I just want you guys to look at this because Barrett hit us up pregame last night, gave us the nice little nugget on Chris Paul and able to lift his arm. I'm going to tell you this right now. If Russell Westbrook or Bradley Beal are seen walking in tonight in a Kwame Brown jersey, you better pound the Wizards with the points. All right? That's all I'm saying, man.
Wow.
You better slam that.
Is this like a Kwame curse?
I'm telling you, yeah.
Like Lil B?
God.
Yeah.
That's all you had to say with Lil B now.
Yeah.
Come on now.
We'll see Westbrook doing the cooking dance after his first basket.
Yep. He's authorized. Remember, it was Durant who was
right. It was Durant and Harden too.
Harden as well. Yeah. Now, that should be, if anything, that should be an omen to the rest of the league that two prior cursed individuals by the base god in Kevin Durant and James Harden have united together. And they've both had the curse lifted. Base God has said he has moved on. He's forgiven both of them in different respects.
He's moved on.
Well,
what was this, like 6 years ago?
Oh,
yeah,
no,
5 years ago?
5 years. Yeah,
about 5 years ago for Durant, and a little more recent with Harden.
Yeah.
That stuff with Harden.
I know Eytan and I were doing shows together for a portion of that time because we talked about it every day.
Right.
And the program director hated it. I mean, who's this base god?
Can you imagine?
I can hear him saying that too.
They want to get Lil B on. I mean,
we tried to get Lil B on for like 3 weeks. We
Right.
tried. We hit him up with DMs every day. The guy still follows me. He's followed by 5 million. I think he follows 3 million. And I'm surprised I'm still one of them because I was hitting him up every day with a DM. Hey, we'll keep talking about the show, man. We'd love to have you on. Talk about the curse.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I wasn't hit with the curse.
Right.
Maybe you were, and you didn't even know about it.
Maybe.
Eytan, you gotta talk about the Eagles.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
Who's this base god?
Yeah. Oh,
Little bit the curse. Now, I'm just letting you know, if you see either one of these guys rocking the jersey, keep an eye on that line. That's it. That's the only thing I have for you, to keep an eye on that line. I do want Seth Curry tonight under 3.5 rebounds. Dwight Howard under 7.5 as well. Bunch of rebound props I got for you later.
Dwight, I don't know, man. I might rock that and go over.
Go over?
Yeah. 7?
7.5. I can live with 7. 7.5.
7.5.
Yeah. Now the Lil B still follows me, but I don't follow him.
Oh wow! Did you unfollow?
I must have unfollowed him. Mogul, first rapper ever to write and publish a book at 19. That's him. I gotta follow him. I gotta follow.
And I can hear you. I can hear you saying, "Oh, I'm out on you," and you just
yeah. I might have. Maybe the program director influenced that.
Right. I can see you saying, "Oh, I'm out on this."
Yeah.
I could see you doing that. Like maybe you didn't wait the full 48 before you unfollowed, and you just assumed he was going to unfollow or not follow you, so you just didn't check back. I don't know. That's interesting.
Maybe. I just followed him again now.
So real quick, just to look at this, because we'll talk a little bit more about this from a betting standpoint with Jeff tonight, coming up at 12:40. But the game itself, I know we keep saying it has to be, but I'm telling you it will be. This is going to be a blowout. Like game twos, unless you are in a tight series, and this is not a tight series. Like Boston, Brooklyn, not a tight series. Milwaukee, Miami, not a tight series. Even Denver, who loses game one, comes back and emphatically smashes in game two. The tight series are there. It's Phoenix, LA. It's now what looks to be over in Dallas and the Clippers. But I feel like we've already seen the roadmap of how game twos work for a team like Philadelphia, where other teams have either struggled and lost or struggled and looked like dog feces, but still won a game. Sixers are prime right now. And Barrett's been the one championing this. And he's right so far, Harry. They're going to go 11, 12, maybe 13 deep.
Yeah, but Barrett also referred to them playing like a number one seed. And tonight will be the sort of the evidence of that. Like if they come out and do what we want them to do, take care of business the way, Brooklyn did last night, or the way, Milwaukee did, the other night. If they do something like that, then that plays into them being a one seed. If they struggle tonight with the Wizards,
I don't know. I don't think they do. I think, and it was what really made me think about this, not just because they're number one seed, but the mere fact that they had 10 days off before they had a game. Do you realize that's a lot of time to have off from playing a game? I mean, that's a tremendous amount of time. You got to get back in sync again. I think now that they played a game, they're back in sync. They're going to go out there and give us a product that we've been looking for. Simply because they're more in tune now than they were with a 10-game layoff. They should go out there and take care of business.
Yeah,
they should.
Washington is not a good starter either. And the layoff, I think, mitigated or murkied the water up a little bit on that. But look, I mean, tonight, at least from a game standpoint, even if Russell Westbrook and Bradley, this is what we were talking about with Chase Hughes earlier, and that's why I kind of asked this question, because look, even if Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal combine for 90 points, which is very likely, and that could happen. I don't think it happens, but worst case scenario in that backcourt, it's CJ and Dame at their best. You're relying on Bertans and Rui Hachimura.
Yeah.
Right. Where we know that the Sixers could outscore the Wizards 128-90, where Westbrook and Beal combined for all 90, but nobody else could get in. Like that's what I'm saying, is that Washington has no go-to option after those two guys up top. And I mean, if you're Doc, it's almost like, go ahead.
It's a big drop off.
Go ahead. Go ahead. We'll match it. Especially, look, Embiid's not going to be in foul trouble either.
Right.
Sixers all over I'm going to lay points on the first quarter and first half for the Sixers.
What is Ish Smith going to go in there and just bomb his old team? Remember Ish?
Yes, I remember Ish.
All right. Now, I know we got Pauls coming up.
We got to take a quick one here. So let's do this live on the break. It's the middle, Philly Voice, the JAKIB Media YouTube. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. We want you to hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything as well. And live on Sports Map Radio. All right.
All right. Play action reel. You got to give me the odds for a gray hat. I want a gray hat. Just a gray hat. Give me the odds on that. So he's taking over right now.
Speaking of the odds, I sent you guys this last night. Remember we were talking about the Julio Jones odds?
Yeah.
I saw that.
And was it Lock and Fora said the Eagles were like 10-1 or something?
Yeah.
Well,
the real you showed us the real odds.
Yeah, Bet Online put them out.
Right.
And the Eagles are like, let's see, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13th at plus 2,200.
Yeah, I hate everything about that.
Yeah.
That Lock and Fora sliding in some odds that he doesn't even know how to read just to justify putting the Eagles in the story. As it goes back to what you were saying, how he clicks. Because he knows people in Philly will click on it. Shameful.
Patriots are the favorite according to Bet Online.
Shameful.
And they're at minus money.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I saw that. I thought that was interesting. And the other thing, Eytan, I know, did you see Mayor from Easttown episode 6?
Yeah, I actually have that in my recap this week on
the column.
Yeah, I talked about. Yeah, actually, I think of all things, this was probably my most favorable write-up for any show that we've watched.
It's a pretty good episode, but I'm starting to feel like you feel, where it's almost like they wasted so much time in some of the previous episodes that now there's still storylines. They're gonna just rush it all in the final episode.
Yep. And and this is what I wrote. You're going to be there were 2 examples of it where this past episode furthered some plot, but the 2 big carryovers into the final episode were carryovers into this episode. Like what's in that photo and Billy, we believe or are told to believe, killing Aaron.
Right.
Like, okay, we got it already. Like now you're gonna. Now I don't know. Is it just this year or have they re-upped?
Oh, I don't know. I think it might just be a one-off.
It's not a bad show.
No, it's pretty good.
She's good.
She's really good.
The middle.
Adam's exploit says, I like the Chipotle guy. He's talking about Jake Asman. Yeah.
He's right now working for a tiger.
That tiger could eat Asman and he'd be like, all right, what's next? Like, I want more.
Yeah, it wouldn't even be a snack. It's like one of those Andes mints. Just have one, right?
Middle with Eytan Shander.
That's pretty good, Culver.
And Harry Mays. Weekdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern.
Not bad. Trying to get the in on these props.
You're listening to The Middle on the Sports Map Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios. Here's Eytan Shander, Barrett Brooks, and Harry Mays.
Yeah, I was laughing earlier because Barrett brought up B. Mitch on, and we love Brian Mitchell here in Philadelphia, of course, and he did a lot of local stuff here media-wise as well before going back to home, and I get it down there in the D.C. area. But I'll never forget when I was down in New Orleans for the Super Bowl. This is when I was doing the show with Amadi and Rodney on the weekend, and we were with NBC Sports, and we were at the hotel coming back. It wasn't even like a late night or anything. We were coming back, and Amani and I were just hanging at the bar real quick before going up, just a small hotel bar. It was me, Amani, maybe like one other person at the end of it. And I don't even think you can get like anything more than the grab and go stuff. So it wasn't like there was a kitchen or anything. And in walks B. Mitch. You know, he's had a couple, right? Yeah. And everybody loves Amani Toomer, right? It's like Barrett. He reminds me of Amani in that sense of like, you see that smile and it's like, yo, what's up, Barrett? And it was the same thing like, yo, what's up, Toom?
Right.
And, you know, Barrett would definitely sit there and, you know, and talk forever. I think Amani would just be like, all right, man, cool. Like, you know, let me go back to my own world, which is fine. Love him for it. So that's what I was saying is like we were talking, then all of a sudden B. Mitch comes over. And next thing I know, it gets into, I forget what it was going on around the Super Bowl, but there was something about a coach grabbing a player or something along those lines, that storyline. Maybe it was in college or maybe it was right around the NFL, something like that, like physical altercation with a player. And here comes B. Mitch just going on about one day in practice, this coach was riding him and stuff, and they went up and grabbed him. And he came right back and looked at the coach and said, you know, you ever bleep and touch me again, and I'm going to come out of this, you know, uniform and helmet and beat you to the ground and something like that. And he's like, the coach never said a word to him after that. And it was just one of these B. Mitchell stories that just so Brian Mitchell, right?
I wonder who that coach was.
Yes,
Bro.
I know. I was trying to Google that.
Yeah.
But it was like some position coach. It wasn't like a head coach or anything like that. It was like a running backs coach or something along those lines where he, you know, something in a drill. And he looked over and he's like, I don't know who you, I remember him saying that in that scruffy little like voice that he's got, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know who you used to talking to.
And it was probably a lot of 4-letter words too, bro.
Yeah.
Yes. In what he said to the coach and telling the story. Now, can we get back to this really quick though? Because we've got the Sixers tonight. I think we're all pretty much lockstep in that. We'll talk about the other games in a minute here, if not with Jeff. But Aaron Rodgers may be good at golf. I don't have any interest in watching Aaron Rodgers in this match. I really don't.
Well, I think isn't the interest with Bryson? Doesn't that sort of override it? Because you're such a Bryson honk.
Okay. So I think I separate the two. Now, to be fair, I didn't think I'd like Peyton Manning last time.
He was good.
He had to carry the whole thing.
I know.
Nobody else was talking.
Yeah.
Including the other quarterback and Tom Brady, right?
Right. Well, he got off to a poor start. It took him like 6 holes to really do anything positive, if I remember correctly.
I don't know. Like,
it's hard to talk trash when you're not playing well.
Exactly.
You
know what I mean? Yeah.
So that means I'm gonna talk anyways.
The first hole,
never say
Barrett's
anything.
On the first tee before he tees off with that 1 iron.
Yeah,
you throw out some barbs.
And after that, pretty much quiet.
So let me ask you this question then, in regards to that, and not with Barrett at his 1 iron. I'll concede that Tom Brady has star power enough and has this lure to him that people are going to want to watch him. Okay, Phil comes off the most popular run in his career right now, winning the major at 50, the oldest guy to do it. Okay, I understand that Phil and or Tiger have to be a part of every one of these matches.
Right.
I recognize that. I don't argue with that. I'm not there to hear Phil trash talk, but I am there to see Phil do some crazy stuff. So I get that grouping. Fine with that. The easy shot for me is, look, Aaron Rodgers struggled when there was a script with Jeopardy and other stuff. I don't know how good he'll be off script like this. I don't think that he's a people's guy. He's not a guy that everybody, I think, wants to go chill and hang with after practice.
No, you're right about that. I get that.
That's my concern.
Okay.
Now, I'll give you this with Bryson. Finally, real quick. Let me wrap it with this. There's something really, really good with Bryson, and then there's something really, really bad with Bryson that I'm concerned about. The really, really bad is that he could get off to like one of those Brady starts. He could be like 8 over after 8. And I don't know how he'll be at that point. I don't know if he'll shut down. I don't know. Like, he's a professional. He's not there to rah-rah and do all that stuff. So that's my concern. And then on the flip side, because it's an exhibition, guys, Harry, and you'll appreciate this, I think, more than most, because it's an exhibition and because you're not playing for a trophy and because it's not a sponsorship, we'll see him take risks and do stuff with the golf ball that we'll never see anybody do.
No doubt. And plus, add into this, they're playing at altitude. So think about what that's going to enable his tee shots to do.
This guy might put it 600 off the tee.
He's going to try. I mean, you talk about swinging out of his shoes. He's going to be doing it on every tee.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Going 500 every time.
Seriously.
The green is 510. He's going 500. Easy out
real
there.
Quick. That is a great prop. All right. Let's set it and then create our own odds. Will Bryson drive a green?
Question.
Drive a green at Big Sky?
Yes. I haven't even seen the golf course yet.
All right. Let's set the over under at 1.5. 1.5 greens driven, par 4. So for you out there new to golf, you're thinking, yeah, what are you talking about? A couple of par 3s. Drive the green. He ain't going to do it on a par, maybe. I doubt it, on a par 5. But will he drive the green? You guys are locking in yes.
You're going 1.5.
So if I set it at 1.5, you'll go what?
Over.
Over? You think he's going to?
No, I'll go under. I say he does it 1. There's got to be one drivable par 4, but other than that, I mean, that's tough. You got to hit the green. It's not like you just hit it as far as the green is.
Right, but I'm just saying, just like you said, they're going to be showing off, talking ish. They're out there making it happen. Yeah, of course they're going to talk, bro.
I'd go under.
Nah, I'm going over. I'm going over.
We need to find a way to wager this.
Yes.
I'm tempted.
You'll find a way. You'll go to the legal black
market. If anybody
market.
can, you'll find it.
No. I mean, like, we need some sort of show wager involved here.
Okay.
You guys are on the opposite end of something that I think. Look, I don't know if you're going to find that on there. I think that some of the stuff that comes out of my head is better than what you get in the books anyway.
Well, yeah, we got over a month to figure this out.
Coming up next. All right, we got Parles coming up.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. The savoring taste of a good bag of beef jerky is so enjoyable at any time of the day, as long as you can find it. Here's what we suggest. Pure Bull beef jerky is our answer, and soon it will be yours. Locally produced in the Philadelphia region, this high-quality, healthy protein snack is easy to secure. Go to steersnacks.com, and you'll see hot garlic, tropical heat, Pure Bull dry rub, and our favorite, Huck and Fod. What's that? Huck and Fod. Go now to steersnacks.com.
In the Wildwoods, our free beaches are spacious and welcoming with plenty of room to spread out. Your seat will be waiting for you when you're ready to visit. The Wildwoods, creating cherished family memories for generations.
Attention women of South Jersey and the Delaware Valley. Sign up right now with Our Lady NRA instructor, Nayara Andrzak, who will teach you gun safety as part of this 3-hour safety class, which is being held at Delaware Valley Sports Center in Philadelphia. For information, drop an email to info@DelawareValleySportsCenter.com. That's info@DelawareValleySportsCenter.com. Learn the fundamentals at Delaware Valley Sports Center. You can't miss.
Are you looking for a place to track your action, purchase picks, and share your sports betting analysis with the gambling community? Check out JAKIB Sports, a social media platform with an unparalleled experience catered for the sports betting community. On the JAKIB Sports app, you can track all your NFL, NBA, and college basketball picks while getting real-time updates and injury reports all in one convenient place. Start building your following today and stand out amongst your friends by downloading the JAKIB Sports app on the Apple and Google Play stores. Let's cash some tickets and put it on Book It.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local Union 98, is a proud sponsor of The Labor Show with J. and Krause every Saturday night from 6 to 8 p.m. IBEW Local 98's highly trained and superbly skilled electricians are the best in the business, setting the highest safety standards in the electrical industry. So when you're planning your next industrial, commercial, or residential project, choose an IBEW Local 98 union contractor. Learn more at IBEW98.org.
Yo, yo, yo.
What is that hat? Ah, Bell Reeve.
This is the middle on the Sportsman
St. Louis
Network.
I don't even know the odds. St. Louis hat? Okay.
Studios. Here's Eytan Shander, Barrett Brooks, and Harry Mays.
All right, now we're trying to figure this out here, as we always have odds on the stream what color hat Jeff Parles will be wearing, and technically there's a color to that hat.
Oh, it's a white hat with a logo. It's a white hat. It's a white hat.
Yeah.
Well,
I went with gray this time, so I'm out. I'm out.
What do you think it is? What is that?
It's white.
No, but that logo.
The logo's Bell Reeve. It's the PGA when Koepka wanted it, Bell Reeve.
White hat wins 50-1, but not white hat with logo.
No, they weren't that specific.
Right.
Oh, I mean that's a little unfair, because the other white hat that's in the rotation is a Tiger Woods hat, and we don't count that as a hat with a logo.
Right.
Yeah. Joe, hold on. White hat was 50-1.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
no, that's in the rotation at least somewhat.
Well, at this point, they thought no hat was only 10-1, so they didn't think.
Okay, that's a reason. That's a reasonable adjustment, even though that's reactionary to a recent event, though. Again, Joey's getting better. Joey's
recent
better.
It's the Penguin AZ this time.
Maybe that's
Action Real. They said
that's why. So that's why the odds have gotten better the last few weeks.
Yeah. The Play Action Real's sharper. He's much sharper.
Yeah, that is apparent.
Yeah. Joey B can be a marble sometimes. There's no sharp edges to him.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh boy.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, what's happening today, man? What side of the country are you on?
I'm home. I'm back home. I'm back home.
Back
as soon as you can tell that the background's back, I'm back home. So
okay, but the big thing is the old lady, since she moved in with you, is she making you a sandwich right now? That's what
no. Come on now. No, she's doing work right now in the other room.
Okay.
She's basically making sure everything's ready to go before she starts her new job the week after next. So we're in good shape there. Yep.
Well, how has the first game or two of the NBA playoffs treated you, and what has stood out to you most, maybe aside from the Mavericks and what they've done?
So aside from the Mavericks,
that's too easy.
I was going to go after the Clippers and just basically the fact that the franchise should be folded at this point if they manage to get swept in the series, because you legitimately out-tanked two teams that have been tanking for basically 2.5-3 months. The Rockets the whole season after they traded Harden. The Thunder for legitimately 2 months, where they had to win 5 games in the last 2 months to get over their season win total and didn't get there. And the Clippers out-tanked those teams to get Dallas and get on the opposite side of the bracket from the Lakers. And look, the Clippers are going to get swept at this point. They're getting swept. They're losing game 3. They're losing game 4. They're getting swept. And Kawhi's going to leave, and he should leave. And it's a franchise. Look, it's a franchise that's always been a loser, regardless of where they've been, if it's Buffalo or San Diego or wherever. They've been a loser their entire existence. But what they have managed to do last year in the bubble and now this year, even for them, they are reaching a new level of stink that franchise is never going to win anything. You legitimately have a dude in Kawhi who carried a franchise that was a perennial loser to a title and came to you to do the same, and you can't even get out of it. You're going to get swept by a team that has, again, Luka's a top 5 player. But Porzingis is a shell of what he was in the past right now. Mm-hmm. And those role players, other than Brunson, I'm not a huge fan of much of those role players on that team, even though Kleba had a big game yesterday. So they're the story. The Clippers in the negative light are the story. The other big story is Chris Paul's shoulder. Yeah. I mean, if Chris Paul is healthy, Phoenix probably wins last night. I know Campaign had an awesome game, but you could see campaigns and experience in big spots at the end of that game last night. And you saw it with Booker, too, who just couldn't get loose while the game was still in question last night at the end of the game. So the two big stories are out west because the Eastern Conference playoffs are the Sixers are much better than the Wizards. We knew that. The Nets are significantly better than Boston. We knew that. The Knicks and the Hawks are very evenly matched. We probably knew that coming in. And if the way the Bucks won game one, you kind of could see, well, Miami's probably in for a whole lot of trouble after managing to blow that game one. And game two was obviously over very quickly.
Yeah, I'll say this. As far as your first point about the Clippers, I agree wholeheartedly. And it actually makes me feel exponentially better about Doc Rivers and any concerns I'd have about this Sixers team falling apart deep into the playoffs, because Chris Paul, Doc Rivers, Blake Griffin, it took a stop in Detroit, but everybody seems a little rejuvenated. Everybody seems just like, they found the fountain of youth when you get out of that organization, and Kawhi's going to be next. We'll be talking about Kawhi in another jersey next year, like back when he was locking LeBron down as a San Antonio in the finals.
I mean, you would imagine Kawhi either goes to Miami or the Knicks. I mean, those are the two places that make the most sense to me. So if he ends up in Miami, especially if they can keep Butler and Adebayo there, that team's really, really good. And they're a bear defensively with those three guys. Right. So that would be the one where, all right, and also, too, then the Eastern Conference all of a sudden has a big three in Miami, a big three in Brooklyn, and the Sixers are still going to be pretty darn good regardless. So that Eastern Conference would be ridiculous. It's already ridiculously top-heavy as it is. It would really be ridiculously top-heavy if that happened.
I got to give Jeff credit there, because he went way back to the Buffalo Braves with the Clippers and their origin, back to Ernie D. Gregorio and Bob McAdoo. Wow. How about those names?
Hey, but Buffalo Braves have like just old videos and playing 2K with the retro jerseys. The Buffalo Braves had jerseys that should have stuck around.
Yeah, they were like powder blue. They were light blue and black with a border. They had good.
Yeah, they were really good.
Yeah.
They were really good. They should have stuck around.
I saw them live.
What?
I saw them live. I was like 9 or 10 years old. I swear to God.
That is crazy. Well, looking at this playoff situation, man, with the 76ers, and I'm a firm believer right now that they got to, do what the other top seeds are doing. They got to blow them out. First game, all right, they're a little rusty. They, 10-game layoff. The Sixers, finally come back, get that chemistry together, and blow this team out. If they don't blow them out tonight, then it's going to be a tough road getting them out in this series.
Oh, I don't know if I'm there with you on that, Barrett. I saw a lot in game one that would make me think that this is a 4 or 5 game series at 5 at the absolute longest, just because, Embiid played 30 minutes and scored 30 points. They had no answer for him. The answer for Embiid was have the refs call ridiculous fouls on him and get him off the court. That's an answer that's not sustainable for Washington.
Well, also Westbrook didn't play up to his capabilities.
I think this is a bad look. This is a bad matchup for Russ, because especially if Simmons is going to be the one that's drawing that assignment, Russ isn't going to do much. And it would be interesting to see. And I know they threw a little bit of them at Beal, but I would honestly just try to take Russ out of the game completely and make Beal beat you on his own. Which, sure, is Beal capable of beating a team that's not on the level of the Sixers on his own? Of course. But I don't think I don't think he can beat this Sixer team on his own. He could score 45, and that's probably could still not be enough for Washington even to steal a game in this series. Again, Philly did not have their best game in game one. Their defense was probably as bad as they're going to play all series. And again, Joel only played 30 minutes and still scored a point a minute. And again, you're not going to get 37 out of Tobias Harris every game. But look, you need someone to step up in the postseason, and Harris did that in the first half while Embiid played limited minutes. And the Sixers, I know they didn't cover, but that result was never really in doubt to me that they were going to win that game.
They pushed the opening gate. I know that. I got him at 7.
Yeah, no, they look that game. The numbers been
I love
pushed
them, by
up.
the way, tonight, -8.
Yeah,
Love them.
I do agree with you. That feels like a double-digit win. That total's also been bet up a whole boatload from what it opened at as well. I thought that total in game one was way too low. I was surprised that it was as low as it was. That should have been, to me, about a 230, which is basically what you're seeing, 230 and a half right now on that game tonight. And I would still probably be inclined to go over. It wouldn't shock me tonight if this is one of those where Washington just doesn't – they don't play defense to begin with. But if Embiid's on the court for a regular 36 to 40 minutes – what's stopping Philly from scoring 125, 130 tonight, especially at the pace as fast as it was in game one?
Dude, go ahead.
Go ahead, Harry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to give you two quick ones here in the same game. One is a team, the other is a player prop. I think, honestly, nothing is going to change with the Knicks and their strategy against the Hawks. I think Tom Thibodeau is going to come out and do the same damn thing, and the only thing they're going to ask is that Julius Randle doesn't play like a smelly sock in the first 15 minutes of the game and say, play like that MVP candidate that you are. So I love the Knicks at home. It's a short line as well, and people clearly are going to jump. Oh, the Hawks are getting points. I love the Knicks at home. And on top of that, it's a high number, or pardon me, it's a low number to go under, but I'm going with that game narrative, which is something in the low 90s, maybe high 80s as far as Atlanta's final. I'm actually really liking under 25.5 for Trae Young tonight as well.
I don't know if I'm willing to go there because I'm not sure that the Knicks have anyone that can really guard Trae Young. The only thing is I don't think Young's going to get the calls like he did in game one at the end of the game. So you may have a scenario where you don't have free throws like you did in the end of that game for Young. I do agree with you on the Knicks, though, because this is very similar to that Denver-Portland game in game two where – the teams are pretty evenly matched, and I don't see a team ever getting up 2 games in this series, regardless of the fact that Atlanta will have 2 games at home after this, and Portland will have 2 games at home in that Denver-Portland series, obviously. But I'm with you on the Knicks. I would lay with New York. That would be the only thing I would do. I have not – what is the Julius Randle point prop? Because I'd be inclined to go over on that because he was not himself in game one. The game looked a little too quick for him because obviously, the playoffs are a different animal, and he's a guy who never played in the playoffs before.
25.5, which normally
that is high, but I don't have a problem going over with that. I really don't.
Okay.
All I know is, from this point on, I'm fading AD and the Lakers. I'm fading AD, man.
You're fading AD?
Yes,
I don't know if I'm
fading
AD.
He will not play as good as he played this last week. He will not play as good as he played yesterday.
Wow, going back home.
Okay, so that series again, it kind of goes back to what I said at the beginning. Chris Paul just no breaks go his way in the playoffs. It just don't. The hamstring gave up with him in Houston when, let's face it, the Rockets should have won that series against the Warriors when Golden State was going for one of their Durant aided titles. And now you get this great Phoenix team where they overachieve greatly in the regular season, get the 2 seed. Your reward is LeBron and AD, and now his shoulder fails him. And like I said before, and I wouldn't be fading the Lakers in this series, even though I think this series still can go 6 or 7. If Chris Paul's not healthy, we really trusting Cam Payne like he did? Like Cam Payne had a career game last night, and Phoenix still didn't win the game. So I don't know if I would employ that strategy, Barrett. I think that may be a little bit risky.
What's the Donovan Mitchell situation?
Hold on, real quick. Before you answer that, we're going to break on the network, still live on the stream, back in 3 on Sports Map Radio. Go ahead, Jeff.
So the Donovan Mitchell situation is really interesting to me, Harry, because it sure seems like he thinks he's ready to play. And that training staff, and look, all the reports leading into that were Donovan Mitchell's going to play in game 1. And we get the news about 2 hours before that he's not going to play. You have all the reporting from ESPN, and Mitchell's ticked off at the training staff for not letting him go when he feels 100%. And look, I can't blame the player on that one, because if the player feels 100% and you're in the playoffs, he's got to play. Even if he plays 25 minutes, He's still your best player, despite all the narrative. Oh, that Rudy Gobert is this great defensive player and all that stuff, and broke records for the analytics for defense. Rudy Gobert is not winning in playoff games. I'm sorry. That's just not the player he is. He had to be off the court legitimately in the past in the playoffs because he was a liability. You need Donovan Mitchell on the court if you're Utah. Do you need him to beat Memphis? I would hope not if you're as good as Utah's supposed to be. Yeah. But game one kind of showed us that John Morant is up to the moment. Mm-hmm. He may be the best player in this series, even if Mitchell comes back. I'm not saying Memphis is going to win this series because that's a hell of a big ask for them to do that. But they're going to make this a lot more difficult than it needs to be on Utah. And especially, and this is totally backwards from what I would have expected going into the playoffs, but if Dallas sleeps out the Clippers and has all that rest going into a Utah series, I'd be very inclined to look at Dallas in that series against Utah because I know that Dallas would have the best player in the series with Luka.
Speaking of him, he's averaging 32, 10, and 9 on 50% shooting in his first 8 playoff games.
Not at all, yeah.
Dude's pretty good. And look, they've obviously all been against the Clippers, and I bet his point total over last night because in game one, it was apparent that the Clippers had no one to guard him, and it was pretty apparent again yesterday.
No, it's true, man. It's true. I'm putting together the 3-play, 3-prop, 3 different game parlay of the night. All right, you ready?
Is it a teaser or is it straight parlay?
No, it's a straight parlay here. I'm just going just player props.
Okay.
So this is what I have here for you and the rest of the world. Wait. All right, we're not back yet. That's fine. I thought we were. I'm going to have to knock one off in order to make it a true parlay. So I'm just going to go back and forth between which of the. All right. So here's what I'll throw it out at you, and you tell me which one you. Well, you already told me you don't like Trae Young, even though that's the one that I think, especially.
That's tough. That's tough.
All right. So do you like Trae Young under 25.5 points better or worse than Alec Burks under 2.5 assists?
I probably like the under 2.5 assists more, but that's a very low number for a guy who we know is going to be on the court for an extended period of time.
All right, so I'll double down then and take out assists and just do it this way. What do you like better?
Map Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios. Here's Eytan Shander, Barrett Brooks, and Harry Mays.
So just winding down here, we've got overtime coming up. Jeff Parles, of course, in the house. Let's look at this way. What do you like better? Under 25.5 for Trae Young or under 13.5 points for Alec Burks, who is not going to explode to the level in which we saw? You know that.
What? You're telling me he's not going to score 18 in the fourth again?
He's not
going to do that.
Bryn Forbes has a better chance of dropping 18 in the fourth than Alec Burks. Alec Burks from Seinfeld has a better chance than dropping 18 in the fourth.
I actually like the Burks under a little bit more than the Young under. The Knicks did not show me enough defensively to suggest that Young's going to have a slow game again. That's my concern there. Again, Burks, at 18 in the fourth quarter, and that's just not going to happen again. So the regression to the mean on that would dictate the Burks under is probably a little bit better.
All right, I'm going to play that Young separately, just so we have that set out here. But
so if that wins and the parlay loses because of Burks, then next Wednesday you get to get all over me.
Absolutely. So we're going to go under Burks, 13.5 total points, under Bogdanovich, Memphis's Bogdanovich, clearly. Under 19.5 points for Bog, and then under 8.5 assists for our own Ben Simmons tonight.
Wow.
Okay.
Do the Penguins
lock it?
Get eliminated tonight?
Yes, they do. Yeah. Yes, they do. They Jari lost them this series.
Oh, he's terrible.
It's very. I look. I don't like to make a hockey series that simplistic, but. Yeah. Jari lost them game one.
Yep.
And now playing overtime 2 nights ago was completely unacceptable for an NHL goalie. And that was one of those where if the Penguins lose tonight, that game 5 is going to live in Penguin lore as one of the biggest missed opportunities of all time because they destroyed the Islanders all night on 2 nights ago, and Sorokin stood on his head, and we all know that can happen in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
All right, overtime coming up next. Jeff, you want to hang? Got to go? What do you got?
I will be here with you guys. I have nowhere to go right now.
Are you looking for a place to track your action, purchase picks, and share your sports betting analysis with the gambling community? Check out Book It Sports, a social media platform with an unparalleled experience catered for the sports betting community. On the Book It Sports app, you can track all your NFL, NBA, and college basketball picks while getting real-time updates and injury reports all in one convenient place. Start building your following today and stand out amongst your friends by downloading the Book It Sports app on the Apple and Google Play stores. Let's cash some tickets and put it on Book It.
All right, man. As soon as I looked at that, it dropped on my app from 8.5 to 7.5. So I'm staying away from that Simmons bet.
I would say it's good stuff.
As soon as you looked at it, huh?
It's crazy. I was looking at it, talking about it, and then it took it off Fox Bet, and then it came back from 8.5 to now. It's juiced accordingly. The over is -150. The under is 110. But I was more confident in getting 7 to 8 assists tonight for Simmons, and I don't want to risk that.
Why?
No way.
Because he's gonna be lined up against Westbrook, and we know Westbrook doesn't have 2 bad games in a row. So in order for this team to be even close with competing with the Sixers team, he's got to play better. He's going to take it upon himself to make it and force himself to play better. And the only way he can do that is to get everybody involved. So that's why when you're playing more defense than offense, then it totally dictates you being a facilitator, and he won't be able to facilitate and play defense on Westbrook for the entirety of the game.
You guys think Dwight Howard gets kicked out tonight? Because I might go under 6.5 rebounds at +130, just under the anticipation that he gets thrown.
No.
I don't think he's getting tossed. I think the better handicap on that is that Embiid's going to play 38, 40 minutes. I mean, that would be the way that I would look at that. I don't think
tall number though, 6.5 to go under.
Yeah, no. Look, I don't know. Again, the officiating in this postseason has just been so bad across the board that I wouldn't expect Embiid to get called for 3 nonsense fouls again like he did in Game 1. But who knows at this point? I mean, the refs really can't help themselves at any point in this postseason so far.
That Lakers game was the worst I've seen in a long time.
Oh, I'm not even sure if that was the worst one of the last 2 days. That Denver Portland game on Monday was absolutely disgraceful.
No, you're right. That was brutal. And that's the point too, is it's so, the playoffs make it really difficult to gauge the second half tempo on games, right? Regular season, that if Milwaukee scores 42 points in the first half, there's a pretty good shot that they're going to open something up. They're going to go on that run. No matter who they're playing, there's going to be so you would pound a lower number at half for their team total. You would pound probably a lower total for the game. But in this case, we see that. And you're right. Games slow down. Possessions all of a sudden aren't relating to the clock so much as they are fouls. And if you get a poorly officiated game with too much fouling going on, that's going to put a game over by 10 to 12 points, where normally the pace would dictate that it would go under after the first half. It's not easy as much as it's been in the regular season to get over, I think, on some of the live game. All right, and I'll put it like this way real quick, because I know you're going to jump in, and that's fine. Take as much time as you want. Last night, if you didn't jump in on Brooklyn at the start of that game ahead of time at 9, you never had better value.
Correct.
You never had better value than Brooklyn -9. So it's everything in relation to where the value dips. Like you would have needed truly. That's why I pounded Brooklyn last night, and I'm going to pound Philadelphia tonight for the same reason. Is what kind of scenario, Jeff, do you think would have to happen where the line would shift from -8 to maybe -3.5? Where you would really look back and say, oh, man, I'm kicking myself that I didn't take Washington up by 12 with 7 to go in the fourth?
No, Washington up. I'm trying to do some quick math in my head. If you see smoke coming out of my ears, that's why. But look, I would say there's scenarios. Washington can get up double digits in the first half, and you could get a discount on Philly. But I don't see that happening.
How much of a discount? Maybe
no. I mean, you get the 2 if if Wizards are up double digits in the first half, but I don't see that happening. And I tend to agree with you with what you said, just bringing the Brooklyn game. If you didn't bet Brooklyn pre-flop, you never had a chance to get a better number than what you had before the game. And I will say this, with totals, one thing, and this is all computer-based for the most part, there have been some very interesting over-adjustments on totals down. So let's take game one of the Sixers and the Wizards. That total, guys, I bet in-game at 222.5, which was way down from the pre-flop total at the end of the first quarter. What happened? The total went zinging over every single number humanly possible.
Wow.
Same deal with Portland and Denver in game two. Total went down after a lower scoring first quarter, a little too much. What happened? Went zinging over every single total. So be on the lookout here. If there are lower scoring first quarters than anticipated, you can get discounts on the totals and betting them over. And there are a lot of series out there. And I know that goes against normally what you would see in the playoffs, but you're talking about a mismatch with the Sixers and the Wizards with the worst team playing no defense to begin with. Those are environments to bet overs, especially at discounted in-game prices.
You know, one of these days, we're going to have to do this, not just for the stream, but for Barrett and Harry. Now, we may have to strap Harry down for this and force him to watch and pay attention, like the end of Clockwork Orange or Brazil, depending on which lobotomy you go to. And by the way, Brazil is one of the most underrated movies ever, and it's one of the best Robert De Niro performances you'll ever find as well. So with all of that said,
what?
Sorry. With all of that said, I lost my train of thought, and then something happened on this end of it here.
Did Bryson DeChambeau walk by you with metal spikes on? You lost your train of thought with all that bullshit?
It was Ace walking behind me, click-clacking with long nails.
With his long nails, yeah.
Now I'm like, this asshole. I can't even... I don't even remember what I was going to say. What the hell, man? I was setting you up for something, Jeff. Do you have any idea where I was before?
I have no idea where you were going with that.
Okay, now I remember.
You mentioned the movie Brazil.
Exactly. Yeah. I got all downtrodden on that. Brazil is an amazing movie. So here's what I would say is one day what we're going to have to do, and maybe it's an overtime thing. Maybe we do it tomorrow because Harry is out on overtime. But we should spend like 10 minutes and really talk about the benefits of not watching, okay, but betting a sport like the WNBA to where there is no attention paid at all. And if it is, it's late to where you could there is so little attention paid on these apps right here to the WNBA to where somebody could be out, like Sue Bird or whoever the equivalent is of Sue Bird could be out in a game, and that line may not move for an hour. Versus where so much attention is being spent on the bigger sports, maybe we should be throwing a WNBA prop or game of the night in with you, Parles.
I don't disagree. I haven't really. The WNBA usually starts at this time of the year, but there's usually less going on in May than there is this year. So I have not really kept up with the WNBA so far. But no, you're not wrong at all. Just because, I mean, look, you have NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, MLB regular season, which are all sports that get bet like crazy. So I would not, I don't have a problem with that. I'm gonna have to start catching up with the WNBA and really start following my guy Matt Ellentuck a little bit more carefully to get the value properly on that league.
That's all I'm saying. That's it.
Wow, did you see this? Jimmy Butler's agent going after Shams Charania.
Yes, that was a fun one.
What happened?
Oh yeah.
Apparently, Charania tweeted something about that. I've been told there've been some very, very testy moments behind the scenes between Jimmy and that coaching staff, and the agent fired back, "Shut the F up, you clickbait ambulance chasing dirtbag piece of shit." Oh my God!
Wow.
You know what? That tells me that Shams is right. That's what that tells me.
He goes, no one has told you this because this is not reality. Go find someone's assistant to text about an MRI or some other human calamity you want to be first on. We are good over here. Oh, man.
Look, man, I mean,
I got to say Shams, but I think I'm with you, Eytan. Shams probably right on that.
Yeah, because he's not an agitator. Like, he's not Darren Ravel. This is not somebody, he's not Jeremy Schaap. He's not an agitator. He's not somebody, he just reports stuff. He's like, even Schefter has turned into an agitator with some of his tweets. Oh, I had to clarify that with my opinion versus what I'm reporting on and stuff like that. Shams and, even Woj will step out of that. Like, Shams is a harmless dude. So that's where I think it's kind of like a bully in a playground. Getting picked back on and then going back to the smallest guy and saying, "Oh yeah, what'd you say?"
It happens all the time. All the time.
I do think this is great entertainment, though. I need to go check this out. Yeah, what up, Brittany Griner? You get Griner up in here.
Well, the last thing I got for Jeff is being out in Las Vegas at this time of year. How much discussion is going on about Aaron Rodgers and where he may or may not be come September? Is that a real hot thing, or are the sharp people thinking, he's going back to Green Bay?
Are you asking if it's a hot boy summer out there for Aaron Rodgers?
Well, first off, the hot boy summer's in Hawaii for him right now. So
right.
But look, I think it's a scenario where everyone is still going to assume he's a Packer until he's not. I think that's just the way it's got to get played out. To me, I still think he plays in Green Bay. He hates the GM so much. It's clear. Even the interview he did with Maine the other day, he praised his teammates. He didn't say anything bad about Jordan Love. He said he still likes Matt LaFleur, but I mean, he
name was omitted.
Yeah, he hates Gutekunst. Hates him. So I think this ends up being a stare down. And look, I wouldn't, Eric, if you're ice cold, I don't know if you need to come to me. I mean, that we know the fade Parles problem. Maybe I'll give you a pick and you fade it and you maybe you'll win. But look, I still think he ends up being a Packer in the end. I still think he stays. Plays week 1, doesn't play at all in training camp or preseason. And then like a week before the season, he's like, you know what? I still want to play. We'll do this for one more year, and then we'll definitely get out of town for 2022. By the way, Harry, I got to ask you something though before this all ends.
Yeah.
What was more shocking to you this past weekend? And I say this partially in jest. That Phil won the damn thing, or that our guy Ricky Fowler actually looked pretty good and nearly finished in the top 3 when it was all said.
Yeah, he finished T8, and I gotta go Fowler.
Well, didn't he miss a putt? Didn't
miss
he
a putt on 18 to finish T4? Yeah,
right. He would have been T5, I think. Yeah,
but that would have got him the exemption, right?
Correct.
Right, for other majors.
The majors, right? So
because Harry Higgs got that. Harry Higgs finished T4. And so did Patrick Harrington, by the way. That was a shot.
Look, with the one great thing about golf is you get just bizarro tournaments like this every once in a while. And you legitimately, again, on paper, Phil Mickelson should have missed the cut. He was a dog to make the cut this past weekend. And he wins the damn tournament. And in all honesty, there was a little bit of doubt on Sunday for a little bit. But once you hit the back 9, it's like, wow, Phil really had to screw this up in order to lose this tournament.
He made that birdie on 10 and kept a bogey 10. I thought it was over from there on in.
Well, when Phil went into the water, he made it a little more interesting than
on 13. With the approach. Yeah,
but again, look, that was awesome. That was awesome seeing Phil win that tournament.
Well, the benefit there is where he went in, he could drop on the green, so he could easily make bogey, which he did. Yeah,
right. Look. By the way, I have to ask you one other thing for all 3 of you. Yes. If you got plopped on 17, what would you make today at Key Island?
Where's the wind? In front of me?
Let's put the wind in your face for the posterity.
I'm hitting driver.
Driver, absolutely.
I'm hitting driver.
Barrett's gonna hit his 1 iron.
I'm hitting a 1 iron.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit driver.
I'm hitting driver, and I'm aiming for one of those bunkers on the left of the green.
Yeah, I mean, it plays what 230 from the tips, but really like 250 with the wind, 240.
Yeah.
We're not talking about gigantic gusts of like 40, 50 miles.
No, you got a steady 12 mile an hour.
Steady 12 mile an hour.
About 240 or so, right?
Yeah.
245 maybe, depending on it. So so you hit the driver, and then what? It should be driver to wedge if you can get it to the hole.
That's what I was
going to
thinking.
bunker with your wedge, yeah.
I was thinking of employing the Barrett strategy of just taking the longest iron in my bag and just hope I hit it left, and then be able to chip up there and just hopefully I don't go in the water on the second.
Right. I would purposely point myself right.
Hit a smother hook with a 1 iron.
Empty out before you couldn't even find the ball at that point.
Oh, it's dry. You're dry, Barrett. You're safe.
I'll skip it right over the top.
Oh man,
that's fantastic. Trying to see all right, that's it. We're gonna get out of here. Thursday, we're back in effect on the JAKIB Media YouTube page. Reminder, we're going to be off on Friday, off on Monday for the Memorial Day weekend here. Extended Memorial Day weekend here for the channel, but we'll be back on Thursday morning. Thanks, Jeff Parles, at Jeff Parles, Book It Sports, at Book It HQ. And then for Barrett Brooks, Harry Mays, Eytan Shander, we will see you all tomorrow.
Are you looking for a place to track your action, purchase picks, and share your sports betting analysis with the gambling community? Check out Book It Sports, a social media platform with an unparalleled experience catered for the sports betting community. On the Book It Sports app, you can track all your NFL, NBA, and college basketball picks while getting real-time updates and injury reports all in one convenient place. Start building your following today and stand out amongst your friends by downloading the Book It Sports app on the Apple and Google Play stores. Let's cash some tickets and put it on Book It.